Trump's latest Truth Social post suggested that by having additional countries signing on to the Abraham Accord, that he is negotiating some sort of grand bargain. In other words, he's trying to not only prevent a nuclear crisis and also to try and make sure that there is an end to this conflict with Iran, but he's also suggesting that this is some sort of new Middle East order. What he is hoping to achieve, at least what he's suggesting in this Truth Social post, is that the Gulf states as well as others, if they sign on to the Abraham Accords, not only would this offer economic integration, but it could see the threat of war decreasing.
Warning: this podcast is intended for mature audiences only. It contains adult language, themes, and humor. Everything said here is for comedic and satirical purposes only. It is not to be taken literally, and nothing in the show should be used as a basis for legal proceedings or real-world actions. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Welcome back to another episode of Slightly Offensive with your favorite host, me, Elijah Schaefer. This is the best, worst show on the internet. Unfortunately for me, although we do put that warning, I was just in another court trial, and they definitely used a bunch of clips from the show.
Good thing we had the disclaimer.
Yeah, which I said, did you watch the disclaimer? And it genuinely works. Yeah. So that's why we have the disclaimer. Mm-hmm. That's why we have the disclaimer. I'll never forget that one tweet where I said, I'm missing my wife and kids. And then some woman's like, I think he killed his wife and kids with the gun he claims is stolen. And that's when I realized
I remember that.
Why I have my opinions on women. It's like, what is that? You guys are people are so weird with what they take my stuff to being saying. I'm like, no, I just said my kids are missing. No one's dead. But Georgie might be joining me in the studio if he messes the buttons up tonight, is my resident producer.
Hey,
it's good to have you back on.
It's Georgie again. Good to see you all. It's at Sith Lord Groiper on Twitter. We have some interesting topics today. We're talking about AI. The Pope, he condemned AI. He said it needs to be regulated and disarmed like it's a nuclear bomb. And we're also getting into the Abraham Accords. Trump wants to add a bunch of countries to the Abraham Accords, which is interesting. We have a video coming up that kind of explains what the Abraham Accords are, just so everyone gets a little bit of a just an explanation. Here you go.
All right. We're going to play this. Check this out.
After decades of division and conflict, September 15th, 2020 was a historic day for peace. President Donald J. Trump brokered the signing of 2 peace agreements between Israel and Arab states, the first in more than a quarter century. They were between Israel and the United Arab Emirates and between Israel and Bahrain. Hello. I'm Christian James, a spokesperson for the U.S. Department of State in London, and this is U.S. policy on the Abraham Accords, explained. These 2 agreements normalized relations between these nations, establishing regional peace built upon shared interests, mutual respect, and friendship. 5 weeks later, the United States brokered yet a 3rd peace agreement, this time between Israel and Sudan. Collectively known as the Abraham Accords, through these agreements, each country recognizes the importance of strengthening peace in the Middle East and around the world through mutual understanding and respect for human dignity and freedom. They also promote interfaith and intercultural dialogue in order to advance a culture of peace through cooperation. They acknowledge that the best way to address challenges is through cooperation and dialogue, and the importance of tolerance and respect for every person. And finally, they call for an end to radicalization and conflict by supporting science, art, medicine, and commerce to inspire humankind, maximize human potential, and bring nations closer together. Through the Abraham Accords, Israel, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and Sudan are setting aside their differences and pursuing long-lasting peace in the region. They are now establishing embassies, exchanging ambassadors, and cooperating as partners on a variety of issues, including tourism, trade, healthcare, and security. The Abraham Accords are a monumental step in creating more opportunities for establishing peace, prosperity, and stability in the Middle East. I'm Christian James, and this is the U.S. policy on the Abraham Accords explained.
There you go.
All right, you noticed his name was spelled Christian with 2 A's. I wonder if he's Jewish, and that's just mocking Christianity. Your name is Christian. I hope you're not Jewish. Be a very weird name. So the Abraham Accords are basically just long-arming or strong-arming and long-housing countries until they become allies with Israel and ensuring that they will trade, not boycott, and work with Israel. In extension, what they get from that is they get cooperation from the United States, they get defense from the United States, they get aid from the United States, and they essentially have one rule. You literally just cannot attack Israel or get in the way of their wars. That's what the Gulf states with the Abraham Accord. You wonder why Qatar and Bahrain and these other nations were not really fighting back against Iran, but at the same time were getting beat. They were getting the shit beat out of them because they're part of the Abraham Accords. At least, I don't know which country specifically, but most of the UAE in general, most of the Emirates, most of the Gulf states are members.
The countries are Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Pakistan, Turkey, and Iran.
Yeah, and so you go like, well,
they're trying to get all of those guys into the Abraham Accords.
Right. So look, I understand you got to pick your enemies. Okay. So for instance, my big enemy right now, my number one enemy in the world, it's not my ex-wife, it's not my brother-in-law, it's not any of the other lawsuits or people or Milo. My biggest enemy is Indian immigrants in Frisco, Texas. And I already made a decision today, well, a while ago with Georgie, while Pakistanis technically are Muslim and they are still just Indians that take showers, the problem is that I need their help to get the Indians. We have a bigger Indian problem than we have a Pakistani problem in Frisco. And so we have become very big Pakistan supporters. We are very big supporters of Pakistan. And Hyderabad is a very great city, and I'm in deep respect of it. And I do think that they should nuke India, okay? I think they should nuke India as soon as possible. And I also believe that I believe that the land between Pakistan and India belongs to Pakistan, and they have the right to kill any Indian that's guarding it. Anyways.
Never mind the 60 to 65% incest rate in Pakistan. That doesn't matter anymore.
We're not talking about that right now, buddy. I make my own Abraham Accord, and it's called my Punjab Accord, okay? It's the Punjabi Accord of the United States of America of Elijah Schaffer, and I'm at war with Indians. And I'll bring up that a lot more later, a lot of my Indian stuff. But my point is look, you got to pick your enemy, right? Mm-hmm. You've got to pick your enemy, and you've got to decide who it is you want to fight. But sometimes you got to do your own survival. The Abraham Accord is essentially the equivalent for a country of a girl joining OnlyFans. It's like, it's humiliating. It goes against everything that you were taught by your absent father or were not taught. And there's no turning back from it. And you're kind of, abandoning what makes you sacred. But at the same time, it's like, well, a lot of girls get in it to survive. They do. They get in it to survive, to just make it in this feminist, world. And so the Abraham Accord is very interesting. I don't know what your thoughts are on it, Georgie, but I do believe that it is very interesting that the United States does the foreign policy for Israel, because Israel is so hated, people don't like Israel, that they're like, well, if you want your country to flourish and you want us to buy your oil and you want us to buy your exports and you want to have our movies in your theaters and you want to have your Riyadh comedy festival with Kevin Hart, what was that? Do you see Shane Gillis's comment on that? He's like, I didn't actually choose to go to the Riyadh comedy festival. I was offered a lot of money. Kevin Hart asked me why. And I said, 9/11?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, he's like, because it's wrong and they killed all of our people and shouldn't do that. Shouldn't take blood money like that. Yeah. It's like, it wasn't even a joke. It's like, and that's the joke. It's bad that they did that.
We do have a, what's his name?
What?
Hold on.
Welcome to our new time right now. We're experimenting with our new time at 6. I can't do these nighttime
Dave
9
Chappelle.
shows. Tired.
We have a Dave Chappelle clip about, we don't have to play it yet. It's towards the end, but.
Well, I can't play. I wanted to play the Shane Gillis clip, but I wasn't able to. It's basically insinuating itself that it's extremely copyrighted and it'll get our video taken down.
No, I mean, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see the Dave Chappelle second to last link.
Will that get us taken out?
I don't think so.
Let me see.
Second to last. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Dave Chappelle made a joke. Listen to this. It might get us taken down, but it's okay.
We'll put you up on the screen.
These motherfuckers act like because I did a comedy festival in Saudi Arabia, I somehow betrayed my principles. Well, no, I know I didn't. I know. No. No, come on, everybody, let me do this. And I'm sure, all right, now everybody calm down. No, I'm sure I'm right. First of all, what did they say? They said, well, Saudi Arabia killed a journalist, and rest in peace, Jamal Khashoggi. I'm sorry that he got murdered in such a heinous fashion, and no buts, like, period. And also, I mean, look, bro, Israel's killed 240 journalists in the last 3 months, so I didn't know y'all was still counting.
That's actually, so that's true.
It's funny.
Well, yeah, that's true. But we do all mock people when they work with Israel. And, I think, is Azalea Banks is not the one that's pro-Israel, is she?
I'm not sure.
Azalea, let me see if I can look. If you guys can chat, just chat, look it up. I'm not going to look it up. But there's an artist who kind of became pro-Israel to revive her career. She was big when I was younger, like in high school. And some of her like alternative music was great. And I just saw her. She was with...
yeah, she is a Zionist now.
Yeah.
As of 2025, she openly called herself a Zionist.
They flew out to Israel, and now her career's kickstarted again. It's crazy, like in modeling and everything. She completely failed because of her politics. She was right-wing, then became a Zionist.
Now she's flip-flopping again. She reversed course and posted strongly anti-Israel comments on X, criticizing the Israeli government and saying she no longer supported Israel.
Okay, well, either way it worked, because I just saw her again. She's back out in public, and she was with... I don't know who this person is, and I just hear about them occasionally. Someone by the names of Pariah the Doll. Mm-hmm. And if I'm not right, I went to the profile. It looks like a girl, but it's a boy, but they're not transgender. They're a femboy. Is that what that is? And a model?
Like allegedly, yeah.
But then he calls himself like a girl, but it comes off like it's trolling a little bit. It was too confusing. I had to get out after looking at every single picture a million times. No, I'm just kidding. I was very, very confused by it. I don't know if I got that correct. So I guess I'll have to get updated on the Pariah the Doll lore, only because I realized I had seen this person many times before in my life. And more recently, I think he was with Clavicular at like the fashion show. I think that was him too. I don't know. But this person is like in the right wing sphere or something. Like they're involved with us. They're part of us.
Pariah the Doll previously identified publicly as a transgender woman.
But is detransitioned.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Multiple recent interviews and profiles state that he has since detransitioned and now lives publicly as a man.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Well, good for him.
Yeah.
That's got to be hard.
You did it.
I'd rather go through 10 more like terrible things than to have to like psychologically figure out if I'm a guy, That's crazy. Genuinely. Anyways, the Abraham Accords, going back to them, that is a good save. And I think I'm going to use that now when I do something wrong. It's like, but Israel? Yeah. I actually, it's like just say Israel killed 240 journalists. We say 240,000, let's just exaggerate like they do. 240,000 journalists, were killed actually.
Yeah.
That being said, the CIA director, David, how do you say it?
Petraeus.
That's how you say it, right? I always read it Petrus. But David Petraeus talked about that we were denied access to many of the bases we normally occupy. And so the United States is having now to go in and essentially create this new version of diplomacy that's kind of like, look, we need bases. And so now a lot of countries are denying our ability to use their bases. We need more countries to put our bases on. And anyways, part of that is you got to support Israel.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but Iran bombed a bunch of our bases in Qatar and Bahrain.
Oh, they're gone. They're gone.
Yeah,
the airfields are gone.
So this is kind of his response to that, and he's acknowledging that we can't really occupy these regions anymore in the way that we did historically because Iran's capabilities have become so substantial. Check this out.
Are these Gulf nations reevaluating their relationship with the U.S. in light of this? Have they felt unprotected or unbacked up?
I'm sure they have.
Yeah.
These states tried to stay out of this. They tried to take a knee. We were denied access to many of the bases we normally occupy. Now the truth is we're not as inclined to occupy these bases now that we have seen what the Iranians can throw at them. This is much more than when I was the commander of Central Command, for example, back from 2008 to 2010. Back then, my forward headquarters was at a huge air base outside Doha, Al Udeid. We had a beautiful headquarters paid for by the Qataris, $100 million or whatever, but half of it's above ground. And I can assure you, the Central Commander did not do what his predecessors have always done, which is be in the same time zone with all of your forces. He stayed at the base at MacDill Air Force Base outside Tampa. That's where the war has been run from, not from the forward headquarters. The Combined Air Operations Center, which functions at that same air base, runs the air war for the region. And in this case, even had the Israeli Air Force as part of it in many respects. They didn't run from out there either because it's vulnerable. They actually ran it from an air base in South Carolina.
Okay. So one thing that I want to point out from this that I think is interesting is there is a massive cover-up going on in our world right now to diminish how the United States, how much extension of power the United States has lost recently. Do you know why we sent an additional aircraft group over? Because we lost so many bases to launch our planes from. Yeah. That is not a joke, okay? We had to send a third carrier group because we literally had to, because there wasn't another option at the time. If it continued on escalating, we didn't have enough. We couldn't launch our planes fast enough in defense of our Gulf neighbors, okay? They also took out our radar, and I found out, I don't know if this is true, because I try to verify these things, but it's like hard to know the truth. But I found out that if a hypersonic nuclear missile is launched from one of our enemies, either China or Iran, I think it's 17 to 24 minutes before it hits the mainland. I could be totally off. That could have been a complete lie about the article. I've never been a rocket scientist. You know, look at me. I'm a 33-year-old guy who bleaches his hair. What do you expect? But just to be exact, you know, early detection, if you talk about the entire way, and this has to do with Israel, that we would save anyone in this country or even save our government or whatever it is we would do, that early detection is key towards protecting our citizens and our people. You know, if you had 20 minutes, you know, to get out away from Dallas, I could drive pretty far from here in 20 minutes away from Dallas Central if I knew there was a warning, if there was a missile coming. But if I only had like 6 minutes, it's like, well, you know, you're not going to get very far.
Yeah, it's 5 to 15 minutes now.
Really?
As of today, it's 5 to 15 minutes. You know, warning ahead of time to the Israelis to take shelter from Iranian bombs.
That's what I was going to say. Is I know that
it used to be much longer, but there's a distinction to be made here between you know, hypersonic and subsonic missiles versus just regular cruise missiles. Cruise missiles take approximately 2 hours to get to Israel, whereas subsonic missiles, I think they only take like 15 minutes or 20 minutes overall. So, you know, there's that to be said. The distinction needs to be made.
Yeah. So
someone made me black in locals. What the fuck? That's crazy.
Well, oh, dude,
can we pull that up?
No way.
Whoever that was, you're dead to me. And
that's Jamal.
No, that's actually funny.
That's Jamal, not Georgie.
That's just me expressing my true self.
No, you know what that is? If you were like black, you know, blacks name their kids like this. Like your name's Georgie, but it would be like
George Floyd.
No, it'd be like JORG capital E, like Georgie. You know, like it'd be, they spell like phonetically, right? So it's like, yeah. I think I told you that I knew someone named LaDasha, and their name was LA with a dash and then an A. Like their name, they sounded out the dash. That's so crazy. LaDasha.
Yeah.
Also funny on black names. I think it was Tony Hinchcliffe roasted Draymond Green, the basketball player, because he named his daughter Cash. And he's like,
nice.
And he's like, well, I'm glad you named your daughter Cash so that she doesn't have to change her name when she becomes a stripper from having a failed father or whatever. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then Shane Gillis's comment on Draymond Green was funny too. He was like, I'm really glad that Draymond Green became with a name like that, became a athlete. Because there's only 3 jobs you can get with a name like Draymond Green. And it's an evil pimp, an athlete, or a villain who's a duck in a cartoon. It's like, yeah, Draymond Green, the villain duck. It's like, yeah, who's naming their kids? Like, sounds like a cartoon name. It's like, yeah, your only other way that you could have had that name is if you were a pimp or you were a cartoon character. Like, you named your kid Draymond?
Shit.
That's so crazy. I have a lot of racial stuff to talk about on the show because
Yeah, what would be my black name, chat? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll read off the best one. I'll choose one, and that'll be it.
Can I say though, I also have a new thing that I think I'm going to start doing. That's like I'm going to do for fun, which is I'm going to make a business list. I'm looking at the legality of it right now to see if I make a business list and make regular updates videos of telling people which restaurants are Indian owned in businesses in Frisco. And I'm not saying what to do with that list or not to do with that list. I'm going to use the list to not go to those places.
We're legally allowed to boycott companies.
Well,
if they're
not
Indian.
based on race though. No, not
No,
based.
yes, you
no,
are.
No. You're not allowed to. You're not allowed to like getting those kinds of things that businesses can sue you for like tortious interference. So you have to be careful. I'm not telling anyone not to go. I'm just saying that's what I'm doing with the list. I'm just compiling. It's not illegal to compile the list.
That feels like a First Amendment thing. If I say I don't want anyone
buddy?
to go to Indian restaurants, and I give you a list of all the Indian restaurants, can they really?
Hey, buddy, I
come
want to
after
tell
me
you
for that?
something. I don't know if you know this. And I'm not going to say much because I don't want to get myself in trouble here.
Yeah, be careful.
But there's been some times in my life where there's been some First Amendment issues, and I believe my First Amendment has been very violated, and I have to let people violate my First Amendment, you know, and because they, you know, these Indians have money, and that they all get together, create a giant class action lawsuit or something like that. You know, the pain is not in winning the lawsuit or losing it; it's just going to court. You know,
So, but we could make a list that says here are all the Indian Indian-owned businesses in Frisco.
Yeah.
And as long as we don't say don't shop there, don't buy anything there, we're good. You say?
Well,
I think we should do that. What do you guys
listen,
think?
this is not even a joke.
I'm down for that. That's a really good idea.
This is not even a joke, by the way. I am boycotting all Indian-owned businesses.
Yeah.
And it happened after Georgie made me go to an Indian-owned Greek restaurant. And
It wasn't owned. It was just
no. It was owned and operated because the guy came in with money. They didn't even have like coins to give me change, and like the food made me throw up. It was disgusting. And I was like, it smelled like shit. And they didn't have free water. You know, they didn't have free water.
Listen, hey,
I'm
in my defense, there was a Greek restaurant across the street that we couldn't get into because the wait time was too long. So we saw a Euro place across the street, and we said, okay, well, I guess we just go there. And it just so happened to be run by Indians at the time.
Well, I
okay?
said this. I went into a smoothie shop. This did literally happen. I went into a smoothie shop, immediately smelled curry, despite blacks working at the front. Realized it was Indian owned. We left immediately. I am boycotting all Hindu owned businesses. Residents should join my boycott, and more businesses should put up these signs. I'm seeing these signs like this around the city, family owned, locally operated. And to justify this, I said the sign is important because I'm meeting tons of Texans who are boycotting Indian places. People are reaching out to me about this. It's not a joke. And I've been finding that I said, but the Indians boycott our places to build their own. You don't find Indians eating inside barbecue, Mexican, Japanese restaurants. They're like, you know, but you do see them at In-N-Out ordering grilled cheeses. So that's an exception.
Yeah.
And they're at Costco and they're at Target now too. But they don't like, just like with the Abraham Accords, it's like, I don't like Israel because they are a piece of shit country. And I don't like world Jewry because it has influenced all of our institutions in a negative way. And as an American, I'm a second-class citizen to Jewish people. And I don't like that, right? Yeah. It's not because I just woke up one day and didn't like these people. I don't like them because they treat me poorly.
Well, you're second class.
And I don't like that.
To not just Jews, but also Indians, blacks,
well,
every other type
Indians,
of migrant because of Jews in world
Yes,
Jewry, yeah.
But also like the blacks really haven't gotten ahead, and that's understandable, which is also why now I am going to start, you know, I was at a restaurant, you know, for Memorial Day last night, and I noticed that everybody was black and Indian. Indian was not in there. It was only black, Mexicans, and whites. Because that's why I go there, because it's not Indian owned, because Indians don't go to places that they don't own. They keep their money, like they're like Jews that don't shower, you know? They keep their money in their own businesses, and then they buy their own stuff.
And they live in their businesses?
And they live in their businesses illegally.
What was it, a juice place we went into?
Yeah,
that smelled like curry? It was that place, actually,
They live in a juice place.
Smelled like curry inside of a juice place. So you know they live in the back. All their beds are like arranged on the floor in the back, and they just live there, and they cook in their hot pot, crock pot.
Yeah, and you would say, what about, maybe it's Indian employees? No, it was black employees, and they'll do that so that people don't boycott them. But here's the deal, is I have decided that you go out to this place, and I obviously was like 3 waters deep, okay? Three sips of water deep. I'm that meme where it's like 1 sip of water and it's like, you know, going to racist tirade or something. I don't need anything. And I just go there and there's a black guy and a Mexican and I just look around and I go, thank God there's just no Indians in sight. And like the guy was his girlfriend, she looked at me and I was like, don't you guys agree? Aren't you sick of this shit? There's a Mexican and a black guy. Like, aren't you just sick of seeing Indians everywhere? And it's like, just nice to stand somewhere and just not see them, you know? And the bartenders come over to me and they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, it's getting so bad and this and that. And like, it's so annoying. Everyone starts talking about how much these people made Frisco shit. And it's hilarious to me. And the reason why I put up a video the other day I can play, one of the reasons why people don't like Indians is because Jews know people don't like them. They acknowledge that. And then they forcibly take over institutions to force you to accept them by controlling your speech and stuff. Indians don't really control anything, and they kind of control only their own internal mindset, but they also think that like they're better than you for some reason, and they think that like, you know, you really shouldn't have a voice. I'm surprised the video's not showing up. Here's a local grocery store.
HEB. Oh my god.
Yeah, HEB. Just doing dances in the middle of the grocery store. We don't do this, okay? We don't do this. And I'm gonna connect this to Israel, but I had to get this off my brain a little bit.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so there's that. Also, take off my screen. Also, you want to see what clubs look like? I went out last night, and about half the clubs looked like this. It's Dallas, by the way. Dallas. There's the Dallas. This is what it looked like all over the place. They're playing Indian music. This is crazy. And it's like, you know, I used to have a problem in my country. I could have dealt with the black problem. The black problem is really easy, and I could have solved it. There's two rules of the black problem. Avoid them and militarize their zones, right? That's all we had to do. The government needed to militarize, martial law, put like Rhodesia-style curfews, and they just got to live under a certain set of rules. And if they don't want to live there, then, you know, they got to understand they've actually really got to be one of those blacks that like whites are like, you know, the homeowners association is like, they're that one black family that's good.
Like Jesse Lee Peterson.
Yeah, it's like, you can live with us, but your cousins can't visit. And so like, that's it. No
parties.
The problem with this is now I got Jews, I got blacks, I got Indians. And I ended up watching a video from the KKK in 1965, and I swear it was just like my daily thoughts. That's how bad it's gotten. And what I'm saying is it's gotten so bad that legitimately every other immigrant, I told this black and this Mexican guy, he's like actually Mexican, he like came from Mexico. And I go, hey man, do you want to know how whites view minorities like you guys? And he started laughing. The black guy goes, no way, what are you gonna say? I go, I'm gonna tell you this right now after we're talking about the Indians. I go, do you know how we feel about you guys? How do you know what you just said about Indians, how you feel? We feel that about all you guys, actually. He's like, no way. That's how white people, that's what the white people thing is? And I go, and he's like, Mexican accent. I go, yeah, that's how white Americans, like, you know how we're all universally mad and like we're now allies and mad? Whites, we used to like kill each other. And we were nationalists. We were like nationalists and strong nationalists. And we just murdered the fuck out of each other for like hundreds, thousands of years because we really cared about our own people. And then we dealt with non-white people and we're like, you know what? Maybe we can all just get along. Maybe we can just have a European Union. Maybe that we can just have an agreement between America, New Zealand, Australia, and all the white nations can just like work together because we don't like these people. And now we have Indians, and I actually am starting to miss black people and Mexicans. And I feel like my racism is leaving my body.
It's the Frisco effect.
Because like I was just like happy to be with Mexicans and blacks. Like I'm not like, I literally went to Deep Ellum. I put up videos that went viral of just like, I did not mind just walking through blacks because my parents and my friends and I've learned through experience how to handle it. It's like blacks are like dogs. If they bark and you run, they'll chase you and bite. But if they bark and you just stare them down and you stay at your place, nothing happens, you know? It's like, why chud the builder, nothing ever happened. It's like, what are you gonna do about it, you know? They don't care. It's when you run, that's the problem. It's when they see the fear and they smell the fear. It's like a pit bull.
Like a
they
shark.
smell God gave us pit bulls to learn about how to deal with rabid black youths. But I just went there. I went to go somewhere that I thought there was no Indians and it was all black. And I had a better time than I had at an upper scale Indian club. And that's the point, man. That's the point. It's that I'm going to tell you, Indians may have healed racism in this country.
Yeah, well, like at least the Latinos, at least the Mexicans are Catholic. You know, they're Catholic, or at the very least, they're Christian. There's some denomination of Protestant or Catholic. So, I mean, they had that going for them, and I think their family structures were a lot more manageable for us. Like, I don't know if you've ever been to like a Mexican person's barbecue, but the families are always great. It's always pretty nice, actually, and they're a joyful, whimsical people.
Yeah,
I don't want them all here. I don't want the country to be overrun.
Right.
But if I had to choose between living amongst Mexicans or Jeets, I'm going to pick the Mexican every day of the week.
Well, and here's the deal. What's actually happening, I'm really thinking that we're going to actually involve some change here. I am actually stuck here right now, possibly for at least the next 18 years. And if my kids decide to stay here, and it's like, well, I could technically move if my ex-wife would agree to move, but she has no other interest but making my daily life a living hell at this point. So I don't think she's going to let me move somewhere that I like. Yeah. And the problem is I'm stuck here. And what's happening is I even put that out that I'm stuck here. I made a video. I'm stuck here and I cannot leave. And a lot of people, for either financial reasons, people say, I live with rich people, like, what makes you stuck in a place? Custody, legal issues, probation, family businesses, like generational family businesses, dying parents that you have to take care of, disabled children, divorces, maybe you got to jail when you were younger and you have to live within a county, like moving reasons, perhaps maybe your business only services the issues in this area, like maybe you run an electrical company or something like that, that serves this kind of electrical stuff. Maybe you have you own like a production plant, or maybe you work in an industry that's only here, like oil or something like that. It's like, okay, guys, there's a lot of reasons you can get stuck in a place. All right. And I have people reaching out to me. I interact with people all day and I'm spreading my message. And just like a whore opens her legs, I've been opening up my mouth to everyone. I'm being a little anti-Indian slut. And I'm talking to everyone. And now I'm having people like message me. I'm getting invited to groups. People want to discuss what to do about this. Like, I'm even just like this guy who put Christmas lights on my house, did a wonderful job. I won't say anything he said, but he just said, like, I haven't talked to him since he put Christmas lights. And he reached out today and was like, I saw that video on X and we got to do something about this. It's becoming, unlivable. It's just becoming unbearable, right? Because they don't even put Christmas lights on their house. And that's how you can tell which houses are Indian owned in my neighborhood, because they don't put lights on their house. And so it was like that in Boca too. And it was annoying because the Jews Boca had no good Christmas things. And you'd go to the mall and it'd be a giant menorah and stuff. And there was nothing for Christmas. Right. So it was like, I don't like this. I want to be around Christians.
It's not America.
Christianity. It's not America. No. And so I feel that way. And I'm reminded that the reason why I have to live like this is because powerful Jews made me. And that's like my Abraham Accord locally. And I don't know if these countries really are going to like Israel, or it's going to create resentment even more in the countries, because if the people don't like Israel, the countries don't like Israel, and the people don't like Israel, but the government's now saying it's the same thing. Like, well, you got to support Israel, and you can't, they're probably going to have speech issues. And if you speak out against Israel or whatever, you're going to get arrested. And, these countries are very strict. We
have a good segue. The next video, it's actually the former CIA director, Mike Pompeo. He's claiming that Iran started the war and that they're responsible for it. And, you have to capitulate. Just check this out.
This is what human decency demands. You don't let a radical regime close off the global economy by firing Shahed missiles into nations that did nothing. Right? They're firing into civilians in the United Arab Emirates, even just this week. That's just not something that the world can accept. And so this monster is worthy of the hunt.
You do know, Mike, that we started the war.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Oh, no. Stephen.
They weren't firing those missiles until Israel and the United States attacked Iran. You do understand.
Welcome to 1979, when the revolutionary regime began to kill Europeans.
You do know that we overthrew the democratically elected government in 1954.
Just for the record, you were talking about this.
You don't think Iran has? You think Iran's forgotten about that?
No, I suspect they've not.
You don't think Iran remembers that we supported Saddam Hussein in the Iran-Iraq War?
I know
forgotten about this?
I know this.
Other countries have history.
Do you think Iran is a monster?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't think they're. I'm glad I don't live there. I think many countries do many bad things, including my own, and I wouldn't call the United States a monster.
But Stephen,
do also remember that we wouldn't have had October 7th if we hadn't had Iranian support for Hamas.
I agree. We wouldn't have had October 7th if we'd gotten peace in the Middle East, and that's a much longer story.
It is, and every single U.S. president has tried and will continue to.
Not very hard.
But it is very important to emphasize there's no evidence that Iran even knew about October 7th, much less caused it.
Oh my goodness. I'm sure it is lovely to live where you live and believe that.
There's no evidence in the public record of that.
Oh my goodness.
Thankfully that that's what I was going to say. By the way, what I was going to say, Georgie, when I said about like considerations as we're going to be regrowing this new company that we're starting, and really appreciate you with your company letting us use your equipment and stuff.
Yeah,
I really do appreciate it. I really do. Letting you.
We're rectifying the situation.
Yeah, letting me use all the equipment for your new company, and for hiring me hopefully in the future.
Yeah, dude,
it'll be nice. However, to clarify, I'm just saying this for no reason at all. Just to clarify, I have not worked for anybody since early January, and I have not. So, it is what it is. And I was gonna say with this comment here, when I said like, do you want to go a little more mainstream? What I meant is not do you want to renege on the issues? You're like, I don't think we can go without talking about Israel and stuff. I just meant like not dropping the N-word during shows and talking about things in a way that's like, not just like I hate Indians, which is a funny statement, but also like explaining like, this is creating a microeconomy and it's creating India is conquering us, and it's not about assimilation, and they're not the right people. It's like you're making strong arguments so that you can get on mainstream platforms and have arguments with people. And you're not just like, I hate Indians. You have like real arguments, you're like making videos with real arguments that people can't negate. Just be like, oh, well, you're racist. It's like, hey, you call it racism. I'll explain to you why I don't like these people. It's like, I can go in an intellectual conversation for literally hours about the problems with the black community and with a black person, and I think that would be interesting to find an Indian person as well to have a conversation about the problems with their culture and why I don't like it. I also found out something really crazy about India that is like justified everything. So India has only about 10 million tourists per year, okay, in a country about 1.2 to 1.3 billion people. And almost all those tourists, which is, I think, per person, the lowest in the whole world, from what I believe, maybe other than Burma or North Korea, that are like states that you can't access because they're like military dictatorships, like accessible countries, I should say.
Yeah.
I'm sure like Turkmenistan just doesn't get a lot of tourists. You have to have a license to go. But like countries you can just get a visa and go into, it's the lowest. And the interesting thing about that is almost all of the tourists, I think it's like 70% or something, are just going to the region to see the Taj Mahal. And, despite the Taj Mahal being surrounded by trash dumps, I don't know if you know that, they built trash dumps around it.
Yeah.
Do you see what Iran said today? I'm connected to Iran. This is like absolutely nuts. I officially cannot justify saying anything good about India. Look at this. Marco Rubio puts a picture up in front of the Taj Mahal.
Your next president, by the way.
And the Iran in Hyderabad says, if Rubio knew the history of architecture, he wouldn't have posed for a picture here. The monument was built out of the love for the emperor's Iranian wife, crafted by the genius of Iranian architects. And I believe it was built, I looked up, by the Mughals and designed by the Iranians. Their only tourist site that you go to in India, like they don't even get tourists, they didn't even build it. Like they didn't even build their main, like what we all know, like the wonder of India. people always use this. It's like, but what about the Taj Mahal? They once built great things, and you know the whole thing. And Britain stole our wealth. We were rich, and we have the Taj Mahal. And it's like, did you? Because it looks like this is, and this is the Iranian government. This isn't some like racist white guy on the internet. This is the Iranian government official account, gray check mark, claiming that it was built or designed by Iranians, and I think it was built by Moguls or whatever, something like that. But it's like, you know, Iran's been around for a long time. Is why I bring this up. Okay, Iran's been around for a very long time.
Well, what this makes me think of is, remember when J.D. Vance, he did that same picture with his Jeet family in front of the Taj Mahal? Well, I put it in your bookmarks. So apparently today, J.D. Vance, I don't know how official it is, but he's considering dropping out of the 2028 race already. Check this out. On the heels of Gabbard's resignation, VP J.D. Vance is considering abandoning plans to run for president in 2028.
And we called this a long time ago.
We did.
So they don't want to run JD.
And I think that's why Rubio is doing the India circuit right now, because he wants to, build that base. Vance already did this months ago. He was already prepared to do this. And now Rubio, he's taking the position. It seems like Rubio, I see him every day on the news. I don't know about you.
Yeah, Rubio.
I haven't heard anything from Vance in months, basically.
What I like is the one thing that I was really glad about, though, with Rubio suddenly being shifted to the front, I'm really glad that our journalists in our country are really tracking this accurately and holding his feet to the fire on why he's suddenly the front man of the administration, asking him questions like, Marco, what's your DJ name? Do you remember that?
I do, yeah.
Like, any question, they pick a girl, it's like, what's your DJ name, Marco? And you're like, bro, he's so getting blown by her later. Like, that was, I know that voice. Like, they're fucking for sure.
I take your word for it.
I'm trying to watch my F-bombs on the show too. Something about being a little bit more mainstream, like just making it more palatable to some older folk. That's all that means.
Yeah.
So that when they hear you, you're not just like crashing out about Indians and saying fuck 1,000 times. It's like you're actually explaining yourself. You're explaining things. You're giving background, and you're also being careful with the words you use. Not in a way that you're censoring yourself, but in a way that, you know, these clips can be played on somewhere like, you know, Pierce Morgan or something like that, and they don't have to bleep everything out, and people think, oh, it's a normal.
So I can't say the J word is what you're saying.
No, but like even when it's about the Jews, I like, you know, took time to explain
the other J word. Jeet.
Oh. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be calling them Jeets on here because because YouTube
I've already done it like 4 times today, so
yeah.
My bad, gang.
Yeah, I think if you say it like every once in a while, it's like fuck. So if you say it like once or twice, it's like not that big of a deal. But I meant like you don't want to go on rants. And I think, by the way, to shout out to YouTube real fast, I think we're going to be possibly stopping streaming on this YouTube channel, and we might be start streaming on the other YouTube channel, slightly offensive, and then just uploading here the next day. We might be uploading to this YouTube channel like a portion of the show and encouraging you to watch on the other channels because even though it's you know, doesn't get a lot of views because they fucked up the channel, we think we can kind of restore the channel a little bit to at least get some views, and ultimately we're trying to grow our Rumble and stuff anyways, but it's like I think we can really do something with that, and I have some plans. I just am in so many court, I'm literally in 6 different court things right now, and it's so I literally just don't have time. What do we do? Don't have any time to play with kitten. Okay, you're my kitten, and we have no time to play with you. Okay, but if anybody tries to kiss you, I'll defend you. My princess. Where's my fedora when I need one? Right. By the way, can we say thank God that early stage of TikTok when millennials found it is over, where they'd be like, I'm gonna eat a cookie. It was like a toddler phase. Yum, 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 yum. Cookies are so good. Me likes cookies. And they call themselves me. Or like me. And it's like, what the hell? Me likes cookies. I may eat cookies every day. And you're like, that was like when we finally found out what Zoloft did to millennials, you know? Oh shit, maybe. Notice all the SSRI studies came out after that. Like, well, this isn't good. This is what they're doing in private. And you're like, wow. And I couldn't believe it. And now it's even haunting because now Gen Z got a hold of all these videos, and now a bunch of creators are intentionally mocking us by making videos about this. And there's this one guy, he's going very viral, and it's giving me nightmares because it's too good. It's too good. Like I don't understand it. He takes the criticism like, me haters say me should stop, but me thinks I shall do another. And you're like, oh, stop it. You know, Sydney Watson used to do stuff like that all the time, and it was just like the face dancing and stuff. Like, what was that one girl, the The one girl that gets all the likes.
Bella Poarch.
Yeah, Poarch. It was like they all looked up to her, and it was like she would talk like that. I'm not even talking shit, but she would do stuff like he wants another one or something. I'm like, oh, okay, just please. It's maybe if you wouldn't have done that, maybe
when
I would.
I was in A school, I had a millennial friend, and he was like, dude, there's this girl on TikTok. This is when she got famous. And she's like, I just can't stop watching these videos. I'm like, what is it? And it's just Bella Poarch doing her face dancing or whatever it's called. Now, I was like, I was shocked that this is the way that the country's going. It's like, this is the way that millennial humor is. And it carried TikTok. Everyone copied her right after that. And like, that was all of TikTok for that whole year, basically. I'm so glad that trend died off. Thank God.
Oh yeah. Also, somebody's in the chat, like, how do you not have like 1 million or 1,000 live viewers?
We do.
No. They said on YouTube. Yeah, like on Rumble we have
Rumble and X and YouTube.
Well, it's Memorial Day too, and there's like nobody watching, and it's a new time. What I was gonna say is, I don't know if you know this, YouTube destroyed my main channel, and then my brother-in-law and Milo Yiannopoulos worked together with my ex-wife to destroy my company, and then we didn't really air any shows, and we barely started like a month and a half ago back up.
Yeah.
And we haven't been always consistent, and we've had to travel a lot for court, and I've been in court a lot.
Yeah, we're
I've been
changing the
unable.
schedules and-
Yeah, and we're barely like, I would say we're probably not going to be fully back up and running until about August. With like clips and clippers and everything. Like, it's going to take time to get advertisers, and I have to have a lot of conversations with people. I don't know, because my ex-wife lied vehemently to the fucking public. Like very, 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 very heinous lies and libel. And I'm dealing with the consequences of that. Slowly, I'm winning every court thing, slowly but surely. And they're not very happy about it, but it's very expensive. And it's taking my entire life. And Georgie will actually even know this. You have to have clips and everything. And the reason why I can't do any of the work that I used to do for the company is because I'm literally in other legal cases all day, literally all day, in hearings, in paperwork, on lawyer calls. It's like
overtime.
9 to 10 hours a day of just legal shit.
That's after the shows too. We'll do a whole live show, and then he has like 8 more hours of some bullshit to do.
Tonight, I have about 8 hours of paperwork. It's not even a joke for another hearing tomorrow. And it's like, because I can't pay lawyers to do it all, because we're already over 6 figures, well over 6 figures. Plus, I was given $100,000 out of free legal work. I think right now we're maybe close to, like, if you include the free work, maybe close to $250,000 in legal fees in the last year. $250,000. Yeah, $250,000. I haven't even gone to divorce court yet. And just to fight that libelous thing that was said to the court, I know it cost me over $40,000. Just to get my kids back for 1 day a week while I'm waiting for the court case, because I have to challenge it. I haven't had a time to challenge it. It's just a little update. It's a slow day, so whatever. I had to check this out. This is really cool. This is a little update. I haven't given you guys an update in a while, and I will give you a quick update. So, because journalists were in there and they told their side of the story, and I never explained it, and we said we'd wait a little bit, make sure we see the kids and stuff. Basically, my kids were supposed to come to a court hearing in Texas, because what happened is, I'm warning you guys, this is a warning to men to sign a prenup and decide custody even before you have children. So everyone knows, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. We made a past video. If you ever want to know all the drama, you can go to the drama video. You can find it there. It's just called like let me explain what happened or something. So back in March. But basically, I'm not going to get into the personal family drama. I was asked to get divorced, just a summary. I was told, can we wait 6 months to file? Thought that was weird. Decided to call a Florida lawyer because I still had residence in Florida. I'd only been in Texas for a couple of days. They're like, yeah, you can't file in Texas. And they're like, do you want to return? I go, yeah, I want to return to Florida. I don't want to live in Texas. Now that I'm divorced, I don't want to live in Texas. The place sucks. And, it could be good, but it sucks because of the Indians. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to file in Florida because I want to get this over with. Like, I don't want a long, oh, how silly me. I'm like, I don't want a public, long, dragged out divorce. I literally told him, Steven Crowder, I was like, I just don't want anything to happen like what happened to Steven, where like my ex-wife and their family are just like hounding the press with bullshit about me, and I have to go to this expensive fight and like have my reputation, damaged by lies. I go, oh, I shouldn't have said it. Every time I speak it into existence. So then, then I'm like, I go on a little trip about the crimes that was committed against me, stealing my stuff, and of which my brother-in-law is still the primary suspect. in the Virginia State Police investigation into the theft of my stuff. And when I returned, my family was gone. Like, they disappeared. And nobody would answer my phone calls. Like, the in-law, everyone just it went to nothing. Like, I was blocked. Like, my family was gone and the house was locked. I had to get the police involved to find out what happened to my family. And I started freaking out. That's why I had a bit of a public crash out. Because I'm going to tell you this. If your kids go missing, and you will have a public freak out too, if you're a public person. I was trying to get the public's help. If anybody knows, basically, this happened and I'm going to be crashing out for the next month until I find my kids. Well, I didn't know, right? We talked about this in there. I think in that video, I go, restraining order. I don't know of any restraining order. I have no idea what they're talking about. The press is saying I have a restraining order. No, I do not. Well, her legal team filed a restraining order on, I think, February 5th. Did not tell us about it. Did not service me. And I never got serviced for it. So it defaulted. There was 2 hearings for it for me to defend myself. So I never got, a bunch of lies were said to the court. It's so heinous, dude. You can see it online, what my I guess she's still my wife, what my wife said about me. She basically said all the bad things you could say about a guy, you know? She said all the bad things, you know? Yeah. And I think that, you know, her brother and the people involved, they're going to be, you know, civilly liable, possibly criminally liable for making these claims. And some of the people who made the claims on their podcasts and stuff, I am going to go after them, and I'm already working on the lawsuits and stuff. And I'm going to, even if I lose, I don't care, because they are going to lose a bunch of money for saying that shit about me. They're going to have to fight me on it. And if I lose, I lose. I won't lose on any grounds, but I may not get money from them. They might be poor. They might file for bankruptcy, but I'm going to teach these people a lesson in the court. And like, you know, I don't think I can do any, I don't think I can sue my ex-wife or anything like that, because I don't think you can, but her family, I can, and the people can that she lied about. She lied about multiple people in my life. She said I was addicted to drugs. She said my sleep medication that I had gotten on her request that was never opened, and it's not opened. She put pictures in the press saying I was diagnosed schizophrenic. And that was it. You know, I say it on the show.
Yeah, leaked text messages in the dossier.
Yeah, she took my private text messages between me and my wife about the divorce and gave them to the press, right? Gave them to my personal messages, like arguing with my wife. That's very private, personal stuff, right? And they went a step further, right? They went a step further. They said that I got kicked out of my church for raping a teenage boy. And you're like, what? And that's not even the worst of it, by the way. They said that they were afraid, even though she never claimed I touched her or the kids or hurt them or ever in the marriage, long marriage, almost a decade, never laid hands on her, never did anything. She used a tweet that they had somebody write, and she said, I think he's going to try to kill us or something like that. And it's like everything. Said I was addicted to illegal drugs, that I'm a known illegal drug user, and all types of things. And the worst part is they called my investors. They called my investors and told them all these things, and told them that I was a drug-addicted child rapist who is trying to kill my family. And they called me and were like, because my brother-in-law was like lying to the public about, you know, he's trying to do another dossier, and he's like, no, you know, all I did was ask him to help me with this problem, and they said they pulled out in November. No, buddy. I've had personal phone calls with them, and they told me they just told you stuff because they didn't want to be involved. They were like, look, this is going to be a long, bitter fight, and we don't want to get dragged out in the public. I'm sorry. At least they gave me the decency to call. They're like, we got to pull out, and basically you're fired as the CEO of your new company. And I'm not going to drag them, because they did say when it all settles, hit us back up. So I'm not mad at them at all. I'm not mad at them, at my investors at all. I'm not mad at them. I get it. And then they took all their money. And my wife didn't know that the way I got paid is we were a tech startup, and we had investor money, and that investor money paid me, and I was putting all my money back into the company, paying extra people like Brian and people. I was paying people to do work to try to grow the company. Mm-hmm. So it's a tech startup, so you don't save your money. And what's funny is in the middle of all this, we tried to contact her 22 times. This didn't make it in the original video. We tried to contact her parents, her Florida lawyers, her Texas lawyers. We tried to contact them 22 times through legal routes, calls, letters, emails. They completely ignored all of our calls the whole time, never talked to us. So we did not know where these kids were for almost 3.5 months. I never saw my kids, never spoke to them, didn't know where they were. I had the public calling me a pedophile and an abuser. And really, if you talk to people that know me, I'm really just a normal guy, okay? And also, during this time, this narrative came out that my wife divorced me. First, it was my wife divorced me because of Sarah Stock, which had nothing to do with my divorce at all. Okay? Nothing to do. And my wife admits it. And I have the text message where she said, I never heard about any of this stuff. So that was a total fake lie. Then it went, once people didn't care and it became kind of like legendary and I leaned into it, I was just like, I have a dick and it works. Get over it. I'm like, okay, fine. You're saying my wife left me because I slept with a hot girl. Okay, we can go with that narrative if you want. However, you don't get to take my kids from me because I slept with a hot girl. So then they went on a new thing and decided that, you know, I'll explain to you what they were going to do. But they get back to us on, I think it was March 6th. March 6th, they get back to us, to my lawyer. I'm like, hey, it's good to hear from you. We're like, why are you calling us now? Well, the restraining order that they know I didn't get served with because I wrote her and I was like, hey, we contacted them. Like, we've never gotten serviced. We don't know what this is. We can't get a hold of it. It's still in trial, so we don't know what's happening. It's sealed at the moment. What is this? And why does the press have a document? And it's you know, there's a few pages. I don't really know if it's real or not. Please verify. On March 5th at 11:59 p.m., the restraining order defaulted if I didn't show up to court that day to contest her claims. She knew that I didn't get served. She knew that I don't know about any court dates. I didn't have any paperwork. And here's the worst part. You'd go, well, Elijah, and I had someone say this, a journalist that reached out to me, like, Elijah, we know that even if they say that they serviced you because the court sees a service, they would have had to send you paperwork. Do you know what she did? I lived at an apartment up the street from the house that I live in now. And they knew, that's where they said they serviced me, where at my home. They said they serviced me at my home, but they knew that's where I lived. It doesn't make any sense, but our mailbox in our neighborhood is like a mile away, and it's in a lockbox. You have to have a key for it. She had them send the restraining order paperwork to confirm my service to this address where I didn't live, and she'd already left, took the keys, and I had no mailbox. We had to go file with the city to get new keys, and I had to prove my residence and stuff, and we had to clean the house. It was crazy. She intentionally not only didn't service me, but then let it default, ignored all of our contacts, and sent the confirmation papers, which would have told me I'll go to it in a second. The paperwork to an address I didn't live at where we didn't have keys to. And I don't see what's highlighted. Sorry. So whatever you're highlighting is not highlighted. I'm going to go back to it in a second. I'm just filling some time here.
Just letting you know.
Yeah, but I'm giving the update here because people keep asking me for updates. I'm just giving the update. It ends. I'm not giving you dirty details, and I told you I'm never going to talk crap about my wife. I'm not going to, tell her personal details and stuff like that. And I will talk about Francis Moon, Eli, because of what he did to me. But I'm also not going to go after her parents or her other siblings if they leave me alone. And so far, they've left me alone. So I'm not going to say anything about them because if you leave me alone, I'm like that. I'm like a fair fighter. You go after me. They're going after me privately, so I'm going to be defending myself against them privately. But the people that went public, and my ex-wife, I can't. It's the mother of my kids. I can't drag her down for my kids. I never speak poorly of her to the kids. I'm always like, act excited. Mommy's here, and it's like anger, you're like, you can't believe you did this to me. But because of the default, then we find out she had moved to Australia with the kids. And technically, if it didn't default, that could be considered kidnapping. But because it defaulted, it kind of like washes the crimes away. So the Florida court demands that we find out they're in Australia. The Florida court says that the kids got to come back and the mom's got to come back to America on May 11th. You got to come back. We've got to see the kids. They can't be in another country. And so, but in the meantime, we have a jurisdictional argument where I got to get this restraining order removed because I want to see my kids. What is this shit? So I hire a team, spend all the last money I have. So if you wanted money, baby, you chose the wrong decision here. I did have some money. Hired a very expensive legal team. Some phone calls cost $2,300. Hired the most expensive legal team that we needed to fight this. And we had to appeal to the appellate court and everything. And we got a retrial. And what happened was they said immediately, we're going to throw out the restraining order because it was ridiculous. He's here. We'll at least do a retrial. I'm not going to go through all the details. And they go, we'll throw out the temporary restraining order. Like I wouldn't have had to do drug testing or anything. And you can see your kids today. And my wife was like, where are the kids? And the lawyer's like, I'm saying she said, but it's her legal team. She didn't say these things. Her lawyers to clarify, but it's her representative said, the kids are in Australia still. And the judge is like, why? Like he said what the Florida judge said. Why are the kids, if there's a jurisdictional fight between Florida and Texas, why are the kids in Australia? And So then he says, this is a horrible place. Good job on her legal team on this one. He says, but I outsmarted them. He says, okay, listen, Elijah, listen, I can throw out the temporary restraining order today, completely exonerate you, let you go. And we can let the Florida judge decide, we can go back to a divorce, not a restraining order trial. We can go, and you can see your kids. However, if I vacate and I agree with you that I didn't have jurisdiction, then you're going to have to go through the Hague and get a lawyer in Australia to then get your kids back. And her lawyer's like, well, it doesn't matter, basically, like to me, trying to let me know. He's like, well, the kids they already have to be back on May 11th. They already have to be back on May 11th. So my legal team's like, well, then why don't you just wait a month? It's already been a few months. Wait a month, get this restraining order completely absolved. It's all bullshit, and then, if she wants to make claims against you in Texas divorce court or Florida court, you can handle those in court, but you'll be able to have full access to your kids on May 11th. Interesting. And my legal team even advised me, you know what? Don't go through this bullshit. Yeah, don't go through this bullshit. Don't do the drug test. Don't do all this stuff. Just take it out. And I realized, I go, if the kids aren't here and they're supposed to be here and they're claiming confusion that they thought the kids were supposed to be on May 11th, I think there's a plan here. And I was right. I go, I'm going to tell the judge that I accept his temporary jurisdiction and I want him to order the kids home right now. And so we did a pickup order. We ordered the kids home. I knew that her team looked depressed. She looked so depressed. I knew whatever I did was the right move. We ordered the kids back. Now I got to see my kids like once a week or whatever, which is fine. They remembered my name. My son said dad for the first time. We're having great times together. We're having fantastic days together. And May 11th rolls around, and I'm going to be careful from making accusations here. But an extension was given that we were not alerted about. My team was not alerted about. We showed up for court, and we're not told that there was no court on May 11th. It was actually extended by like 6 weeks. And the day after the court hearing, I get a letter from the Home Office of Australia giving me a lifetime ban from Australia, claiming that they had spoken to my family, presumably my in-laws. I'd say presumably. But they had spoken to Australian citizens who told me I'm no longer with my wife, and they told them very damning things about my character. So I get banned for life from Australia the day after the alleged trial that was supposed to happen. Now, when I found out the date, it's the last thing I'm going to say. I didn't know last year that there was an attempt to divorce me last year and steal my kids. My wife and her family lied about her grandma dying. They lied to me about them dying. Took the kids for a quote unquote 3 or 4 week vacation, 2 to 4 weeks, staying for a few months. And I had to order them home. I was like, nope, you got to come home. I'm going to file a missing persons report if you don't bring my kids home. With the extension, the restraining order and the time they would have been in Australia, the kids would have had more than 6 months of residency in Australia. She could have filed asylum there for the kids, get me banned for life. And as we know what Francis, my brother-in-law, said, they were going to take the kids away from me for the rest of my life, never let me see them, and he was going to try to be their father. My gay brother-in-law was going to try to be their father. And I won't go into any details beyond that. There's a lot of things that are very personal, very hurtful. But we did it, guys. I got my kids back. It kind of sucks, the stipulations, because I kind of had to agree to some bullshit to get them back.
Temporary.
But as a father, I want to let you know this. Taking a humble position and allowing myself to be shit on in the media longer and sort of mocked saved my kids from growing up without a dad. And she could have applied for Centrelink and she was going to get money from the government, like maybe $8,000 a month to raise the kids because I abandoned them and I was an extremist in Australia. Now you know why. Everyone knows why. The last video, I'll clarify the last point about this. We all wondered why she talked about my views on Israel and women and my extremist views on a restraining order, because personal political views don't affect restraining orders. Now we know, because it does affect custody in Australia. And I was about to never see my kids for the rest of my life. And we completely averted the plan, and it just cost me every last dollar I had. And that's how much I love my kids. And I'm saying this as a positive thing. I'm reunited with my children. They're very cute. They've been in this podcast room. We're going to film a podcast next week together, or this week, actually. It's going to be a lot of fun together. We're going to film a little show, call it KidCast. We're not putting it on the internet, don't worry. It's KidCast, and I'm going to, have some fun, whatever. But I do want to say this. This is true. Once I finally won some custody of my children, which was better than none, and I averted their whole plan, a supervisor came to inspect my home and told me, do you want to put away anything in your house before I inspect? He was really cool. I was like, what? What do you mean? And he goes, well, I was told by by your wife that you have like pornography all over the walls of your house, like everywhere? You have like naked pictures, and it's on the computers, and you have like dildos laying out everywhere and stuff. And I just went, go ahead and inspect the house, sir. I don't know. That's very weird. And he sees the Orthodox altar. He goes, you're Christian? And I was like, trying to. I'm working on it. It's been a little hard with what people have done to me to not be bitter. And he's like, yeah, this looks like a very normal upper middle class house. Like, that's crazy that she said that. And so, she lied to my work, the supervisor. And that's where I'm at. So that's the update. And I was going to say, that's the kind of fight we need to have with Israel. That's the kind of fight we need to have in this case, because
I have a bookmark for you. In your,
what? Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the resolve I have. And once I'm done with this, I only bring that up. That's so you guys know like why there's not clips. That's the whole explanation. I'm not going to bring it up on future shows again. I'm just telling you that are faithful viewers, and it's a low day, and these are only faithful viewers watching tonight. That I fight like hell, but I'm only one man and I only have so much time. And I'm going to put that energy once these cases are wrapped up into the show, into what we're doing, into our content. But that's how serious this stuff has been, how much work it's taken. And it's been so worth it. It was worth it to see my children. It'll be worth it when we kick the Israeli influence out. It'll be worth it, guys. And that's my encouragement to you. Whatever struggle or hardship there is, and it's like, it's really hard. Ask yourself, is it worth it? And stopping Indian immigration, stopping Israelis buying our politicians, getting your kids back, but children and family first over politics. That's my opinion. And, I want to explain this. Alex Jones is one of those people. He's going through a lot too. He's going through a lot. It's very intense, but he knows we can't give up now. We can't give up now. He
thinks the president was set up.
We're going to watch this whole thing.
We're going to watch a portion of it.
Okay, check this out.
I know when I'm seeing people read scripts. And we knew it was coming out of Israel. Netanyahu said last year, we're launching an 8-front war. The 8th front is propaganda in the West. We're going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars doing it. He didn't hide it. And then now Israel's like, God, it's not working. We don't know why it's not working, because people don't like foreign governments running their lives and getting them into wars. And they don't like being called all sorts of vicious names and persecuted for simply standing up against a war that the experts said we would win. You're the degenerate gamblers, not us. You're the ones mortgaging your whole future for this war. We're like, don't mortgage ours. We're not degenerate gamblers. So Friday it broke because of a Pentagon whistleblower. And then Mike Benz, all the great researchers, everybody's finding all the open source stuff. So did we. You just add ChatGPT or Grok and it just pulls it all up. I did hours and hours, probably 6-7 hours studying just yesterday, reading all these reports and files and NGOs and how the Trump counterterrorism deputy head, Gorka, was running it with the Israelis through fake NGOs using Israeli money, hundreds of millions of dollars, to target and harass and stalk and dox and harass the employers of anybody questioning Midnight Hammer or the current war. And of course, I'm all over it, being targeted, and how they send in swarms of people to file stuff on X and everywhere else to try to get us killed in the algorithm or get us banned. It's a foreign power, not just getting involved in our congressional elections and bragging about it and spending, $20+ million going after Massey and then bragging about it. It's coming after me. So I get chewed on by the Democrats. Got no help from Trump in his first administration. I never bitched about that when they were chewing on me. And now we have them front and center coming after anybody. I mean, they got Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's in the report, and they're saying he's a threat to national security, all because he's like, Trump promised no Iran war. And the Pentagon says that the mullahs probably won't fall. And so what's going to happen when they close the strait? He listens to me. He knows what's going on. Oh, yeah, Joe Rogan, he's really, secretly wears Nazi underwear. Man, and then the very same Israeli groups funding this, the World Jewish Congress 2 weeks ago, we played the clips, is like, we've spent $500 million. He's put another $760 million 2 weeks ago. We're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on this, and the polls show 90% of the people are against us around the world. This is getting worse. We don't know what to do. And the head of the ADL says, we'll use the same energy we use blowing up Hamas with pagers in America. That's a quote. I'm like, was that a threat? You bet your ass it is. So you're going after all these people that are traditionally don't hate Israel and don't hate Jews, and certainly aren't little kissy cake time with the Muslims. And understand Israel used to be the underdog over there.
All right, so give me the crux of this on what, for people that kind of tuned out or coming back in, what is the main point here, Georgie, that you think that he's making about this? Because specifically, Alex Jones said the president was set up. Why did Trump ignore Pentagon warnings not to attack Iran? Can he get us out of the war designed by globalists to bankrupt the United States? And it's bankrupting the world. So he's saying that the globalists, again, but it's powerful Jews. Powerful Jews.
Well, I think because of the Sandy Hook situation, he can't, he's very careful with what he says specifically, but yeah, it's because of the Jews. And he's wondering if we can even get out of this war, before it bankrupts us on some level. And I don't know. It's a good question. And I think Trump, he understands how much it costs to remain in this war. So he's trying to cut a deal. He's trying to add all these countries to the Abraham Accords. And I just don't think it's going to work because these countries are the countries that Iran has been bombing in our place. They're not bombing the U.S. They're bombing other Middle Eastern countries, our allies. And our allies are now becoming kind of disenfranchised from the U.S. and they're not as supportive anymore. Yeah, dude. It's a really fucked up situation. And I wonder, I don't know. Will Trump get us out? Will he not? I don't know. It's hard to say. I think we're going to be in Iran for a lot longer. I think, the Jews will always have their way in the end, and we're just going to be here for a lot longer, probably another couple of years, I think.
Yeah, I there's only a few real white men speaking the truth still to power that have not wignatted out or make shirts of people choking out Jews, people who really want to fight this, And Alex, he did have a moment there, and that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt where he was kind of being pro-Israel or pro-Trump. I knew things. That's why I told you guys, don't worry about him. He's old enough. He'll figure it out. He always figures out the truth. I knew, and you guys kind of knew, they'd be InfoWars is going to be shut down. And I knew it was real this time. I spoke to them, and what's crazy is with the InfoWars being shut down, the reason why it's crazy is because all of the predictions that Alex made about this, about the globalist plan over the last 30 years, 20 years, are now all copyrighted by The Onion. They're getting taken down. You can't post anything old about Alex. And they have the right to take it down. So they're basically trying to act like nobody knew what was going on. There was no master plan. Nobody was warning you about it. This is just an unmistakable accident. And we got involved in the Iran war. And I guess we can't get out. Guys, if you think that Iraq was bad and Afghanistan was bad, those were just meant to get us into more debt so that they could bankrupt us in an Iran conflict. They've said it, and Buchanan told us as recent as 2004, their goal, the neocons and Zionists, it's the same thing. Neocon is Zionism, Zionism is neoconservatism.
Yeah.
The neocon Zionists, their crown jewel, it's not bombing Iran. It's boots on the ground in Iran. They want boots. They want American lives because once Americans start getting killed in masses, this is not like Iraq where you lose 5,000 troops over 20 years. This is a little more like Ukraine where you lose, but you're the Russians, right? Because they're entrenched. They're on a defense position. I don't know if the numbers are real. They said, there's been 1.25 million casualties on the Russian side, but it's also not unbelievable. Because it's very costly in the modern warfare, especially with drones and stuff, to invade a country. It's the defense position is always the better position. Everyone knows that. Because you have to go into open fields. You've got to travel, right? Mm-hmm. The Ukrainians just need to move back defenses, right? They're conceding ground, but they're retreating to their own people. So they can set up defensive positions, and if they're about to lose a battle, they can retreat, and then that's what they do, and then they don't lose as many casualties. Mm-hmm. And also, if you look at their trenches are pretty sophisticated these days, and the netting and whatever. Also, supply lines. It's you lose a lot of men because you just can't get them out. They're wounded, right? You lose a lot of wounded soldiers. It's like World War I. You just can't get them out of the no man's land, so they just die. And the supplies have been I think one of the main battles actually with the highest casualties was to take an airport. And the reason why the Russians lost was because of the supply lines. They couldn't get the Americans successfully were bombing. I'm not supposed to say that. We do have Americans in Ukraine, by the way, quite a few.
Yeah.
And a lot of American mercenaries in Ukraine. if we invade Iran, there will be a draft. Okay, I'm saying that here. If we invade Iran, and I don't mean like the first, like if you're like, oh, you said that, and there's 100 special op agents on the ground. No. If we do a full scale invasion of Iran, we are going to have to do a draft. That's why they're putting this language out from Palantir.
Well, they
talking
also
about bringing
made
it back.
mandatory. It's an automatic enrollment now.
Correct.
Before, you didn't actually have to enroll, and the government, they always said that the government would go after you if you didn't enroll, but they almost never actually did. They didn't pursue anyone that didn't enroll in the draft. Now it's just mandatory. It's automatic. You don't have a choice anymore to enroll or, disenroll.
Yeah, real fast. I'm going to be putting the link to our old channel that we're going to be reviving probably next week. I'm putting it in the YouTube chat and in the Rumble chat. Make sure you resubscribe because they unsubscribed a lot of people over the time. Because we're gonna try to save that channel.
For the listeners, it's at Slightly Offensive TV on YouTube.
Yeah. And we're gonna be doing some experimentation. But there is like 150, 200 of you that listen on this YouTube channel, so we might find a way to dual stream for a while. But we're gonna try to push people to that channel because we realize that if we upload videos, the streams won't get a lot of views, but we can still get like 20, 30,000 views on an uploaded video. And I'm going to start doing vlogs and different things soon in a few months. And even if we lose, the point is, even if we slow bleed followers, it'll take so long to lose all 500,000 that it's like, it's still worth it because maybe after we lose 150,000, we'll secure the channel and things will change. Or if we lose the channel, it's like, at least we tried to save it because I think we can try to save the channel.
I agree.
And I don't think we try to get it remonetized. And I think we got a third-party super chat app that we use, and I think that's what we're going to do. But I think we still can get more views there, and I appreciate you guys. If you want to super chat on Rumble or on Locals. It's free to join Locals. I appreciate it. And if you do become a paid member or give a $20 super chat or higher, you can get a link to the Discord channel, and it's a lot of fun. Mark Levin is back calling for war cries against Iran, and I want you to listen to this.
This regime needs to be defeated. And I'll leave it to the experts to figure out, but there are general things that need to be done. Number one, militarily, there's more that needs to be done. And we kind of stopped about 3/4 of the way through. Economically, that strait needs to be open, so they need to be choked. And there are choke points along there that could literally destroy the Iranian economy even more than it is now. But number three, my view again, is we need to arm the Iranians. To suggest that they rise up with their bare hands again, they've demonstrated they are courageous people, they are strong people. I think about what took place in the founding of the State of Israel when the Israelis, the Jews, were attacked by the Arabs who would not accept the partition. And there were a lot of arms, perhaps not enough, but a lot of arms that were secreted into the Jewish forces, the Israeli forces, to fight back. That's a good thing. I served in the Reagan administration when we armed the Mujahideen in the Northern Alliance in Afghanistan, the Contras in Nicaragua and so forth. That was a big part of the Reagan doctrine, where we didn't have to put our troops on the ground, but they're people who want to be liberated and free. And in Iran, they've made it clear multiple times, those people have put their lives on the line. You got 92 million people. There are about 80 million who feel like they're in a concentration camp with the lights out, the communications killed, and people being executed at record rates. And my view is,
how do you know that without the internet?
Why would we not help them help themselves as part of a overall comprehensive battle plan? So that's what I've been arguing about here in the United States.
All right. This is, you need to realize that Mark Levin, I got to start saying allegedly. I'm going to be so careful going forward, and those that will get it will get this.
Yeah.
Allegedly works for the Israeli government. And I will not share a picture of Mark Levin. Okay? I will not do that. I'm just going to say that I'm not tweeting any pictures of Mark Levin at any point, period.
I put this in the script.
But you've got to be very careful suggesting that people may work with the Israeli government these days, because that's their next thing, is that you got to be careful doing that. Okay, so you got to be careful saying Mark Levin works. I've heard a few podcasters, just warn your podcaster, don't say he is an agent. Be careful. It's got a lot of money behind him, and just be careful with that, okay? Yeah. However, even a suggestion, if you're retweeting someone, anything, and you put a picture of him, be careful, okay? Just be careful with that. Now, that being said, Mark Levin is not telling you what he thinks we should do. He is telling you what the CIA is going to do, okay? Or plans on doing if they can get the positions in. This is called preconditioning. or they're trying to get you like, hey, it's like, you know, it's the best idea. And then the boomers, once it happens and the news comes out that we armed them, they've already heard Glenn Beck, they've already heard Mark Levin, they've already heard Jesse Waters talk about how this is so important. And then it's like, they keep voting people in. And then we get mad and we're like, who's every senator that voted for this? Well, now we have one more congressman that will be Massey's position, but who voted for this? And then we try to run a primary and then they just keep defeating us. And so we're in a really interesting position because if it takes a few years to get the ground battle, if it takes them a few years, it could take 5, it could take 7, it could take 2. But if they get this ground battle, people are not going to be voluntarily joining the military like World War II. I know we had drafts and stuff. They're not going to be just like going in droves. This is not going to be 9/11. I think a lot of
people are going to be trying to get out. They're going to try to get out on medical discharges. They'll hurt themselves. A lot of people will try to get out medically.
Say they're dyslexic.
Yeah,
and
they'll
like,
go to the psych ward and say they're suicidal and refuse to leave. That happens all the time still. But it's going to happen in larger swaths.
Yeah, because when they
in
start
a ground invasion situation,
when they start drafting 18 to 21-year-old white guys, which they're going to want to draft, they all hate Israel.
Correct.
And it's also becoming the black and the brown guys too. And you know, most of the blacks aren't going to get drafted because their IQs are too low. They're going to be considered, they can't stand trial. Blacks can just say, oh, I'm incompetent, I have low IQ. They will. It's funny, blacks will suddenly start saying that they're dumb and stupid. This is going to be the funniest thing ever. Like
well,
literally.
It's already true. Like a lot of them can't pass. It's called the ASVAB. It's the military entrance exam. A lot of them can't even make the bare minimum numbers just to join the army as infantry. It's a real thing. That's very real.
Yeah. Also, people are going to say they're transgenders. People are going to take start getting diagnosed, be taking like estrogen. I'm not joking. Like, you think this is funny? Like, that's actually my best advice. If you want to avoid the draft, declare that you're transgender and get prescribed estrogen, or like go get it from like El Salvador or something if you can't get it prescribed, and like say you're transgender because they don't want transgenders in the military. So I would, because like there's no way to prove that. It's like just take some pictures of the wig on. I'm not telling you to go full board. I'm not telling people to become transgender. I'm saying
it could
wear
be
a wig.
different in wartime. In wartime, if you remember in World War II, there was like 13-year-olds signing up as 18-year-olds, or 16, I think was the limit there. But they were just saying they were 16 or 18, and they were let in. No one really asked any questions because they needed men so badly. So I think it'll be something like that. They're going to just force you to join no matter what your medical condition is. Like right now, you can't join the military if you've smoked weed and admitted to smoking weed or like any other substance, basically. You have to get a waiver and all this bullshit. You know, I think
that's why they're changing
they're going to waive all that shit. If you're autistic, you can't get in. They're going to waive all that shit.
I bet you they changed the schedule of weed to a level 3 to ensure that people can join the draft because you smoked. Because it'll be like, if you've controlled any control 2 or control 1 non-prescription substance, they're going to change some bullshit rule like that. And it's like, oh, weed's schedule 3. Like, we're okay with that. Like, that's okay. We understand that. Or the VA will put weed as like, they'll even put the weed as like a form of treating like PTSD or something, just to say it's okay. If you've used it, you know, medicinally or whatever, it's okay. They will do anything to get their draft numbers up. Joining me today in the studio is my friend and prime minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu is back.
Yes.
Benjamin.
Yes.
Spelled incorrectly. I don't think I've...
Benjamin.
Yeah, Benjamin. Benjamin. Benjamin Netanyahu, it is good to have you back on. And I know you've been great sightseeing, seeing America. And I know you've actually come back with a, besides your point on this, something that you've pointed out that, you know, people generally have a bad view of America overseas and they all hate it and they say don't go there. But you've been viewing and seeing some of the best parts of America, and you've realized what?
America is fantastic. America is a great country if it's predominantly made up of Americans who enjoy living there and are actually heritage Americans. It seems the influx of people who aren't American moving into areas make America a place where people should want to visit. Most importantly, it quickly makes it anything but America. But yeah, man, I've loved my little trip, my sojourn over there to that side to have a look, and I've seen some great things and met some great people. But it's also a reminder it's worth fighting for. Absolutely worth fighting for. You guys have got to do it. If you don't do it, you know the answer already. I was laughing when I heard Mark Levin speak about that. Let's arm the guys over there. I was wondering, how the hell are they going to arm them? What type of weapons will they send them over there as well? And how will they somehow deny the Revolutionary Guard of obtaining those weapons or depriving and snatching them out of the hands that the Americans would prefer, Mark Levin would prefer a certain segment of the Iranians to have? He's almost cultivating civil war within a different country, which is kind of crazy. We want to arm these people so they can become an enemy force within their own land. and then we'll go on in there, and they hopefully would have wiped out enough of the people that we can go in there and make the job easy to finish. It's quite wild, Elijah.
Yeah, it legitimately. What I think is like in America, we know. I was looking at this this list of like top 100 most dangerous cities, and of developed countries. I'm laughing because I'm watching people be like, oh, like 7 of them are American cities. Like America's so dangerous, and all these statements, you know. And you hear of the shooting in the White House, and you know, from the news, it does sound a little bit dangerous. But what I noticed is that all the Europeans, there was a few European cities in developed countries like Malmo in Sweden. They're all defending like, no, well, these are the immigrant cities, like that, like no, like Sweden is super safe, not like America. Because I'm like, well, Malmo is like number like 11 or something, and it's like, you know, next to like freaking, you know, Johannesburg, and it's like I see the Swedes defending underneath, like, no, you don't understand, like Malmo's like little, you know, little Pakistan, and like you know, little Syria, and it's like, you know, you don't get it. And I'm like, oh, but I do get it. But I do get it. And the reason that I get it is particularly because I get it particularly because our cities, you look at them all like Memphis and whatnot, and this is not even a joke. The reason why Mississippi and why people in the South think that the rest of the country is black, Florida's like 24%, or no, maybe 16 or 17% black, I think, maybe, or 24, maybe it's 24, if I can remember. And I think it's like 33 or 34% in Mississippi. You go, oh, okay. So the reason why the South is known as being stupid to the world, they think that we're all like dumb, and the reason why our scores are so much lower than every country, it's the same map everywhere. In our country, it's because they're black cities, okay? Like Memphis is one of the most dangerous cities in the world. And if you go there, it's scary. I went to Memphis Airport and had to stay in Memphis overnight from a canceled flight. Never went to Memphis before for that reason. And I'm not going to joke with you. Do you know what it looks like? It looks like Deep Ellum. Imagine if the whole city is Deep Ellum. Imagine the whole city's Deep Ellum. And you're like, well, no wonder why you're in the top 100 most dangerous cities in the world. If Deep Ellum was a city, it would be one of the most dangerous cities in the world. What is the commonality in all this? You guys just talk about, you know, immigrants or whatever. And it's like, no, you guys, you don't understand. Like, it's literally the whole, like, everything in this country is just black people. And like, and more recently, like Somalians, Haitians, it's not just like African Americans, Somalians and Haitians as well. Like Minnesota used to be a literal dream. Okay. You used to go there, and it was like, I did a lot of work in Minnesota during the riots, and I was talking to some people there, and this guy told me, I remember this conversation he had, I think it was at a Target right there in downtown. And I had my press gear on, right? So he's like, oh, you're press, you're covering the riot outside. And I was like, yeah, man, I just came here to get some water because there's like tear gas and stuff. And he's like, you know, I am so blown away by this happening right outside my work. And I'm like, why? He's like, he's an older guy. He's like, you know, I've worked my whole life, you know, here in downtown. And, you know, like your daughters could go out at night to the bars and like walk around, and you never thought about telling them to like look both ways, or like, you know, it was like, we kind of prided ourselves that we were the Midwest, and people, you know, kind of ignored us. We were just, because it was all white. The Midwest is all white. That's where all the Germans settled, by the way. The Germans all settled there. That was those are the Germans, the Bavarians. My family's from the Midwest, from Indiana. I don't know any Indiana people out there. We migrated to California from Indiana, and he goes, it's just gotten so bad, but it's so fast. It was like you blinked, and you don't even want to go to downtown anymore. And that's when I didn't know about this. I didn't know about this in 2020. I didn't know. This is part of my red pilling. I go, when did you guys get so many blacks? Like there was just all these blacks riding. I go, I don't mean to be rude, dude, but my family's from Indiana, and we didn't leave because of blacks. We left to California for aviation, for like, because my family worked in aviation. Northrop and Raytheon, everything was in Southern California. That's why we went for aviation. And my family worked as defense contractors. Mm-hmm. I'm like, and I've been told how my parents and everyone always told me how wonderful the Midwest was. This is back in the 90s. When did this happen? And he's like, you want to know something crazy? And I go, what? He goes, do you know Obama flew in like hundreds of thousands of like, I think it was Haitians, hundreds of thousands of Haitians. And they're like importing Somalians. Those are Somalians. And I go, new immigrants are rioting in our country? Like new immigrants? Like these are new immigrants? Like, yeah, like maybe the last like 10 years, you didn't see a black anywhere. And now like maybe 1 in 4 people is black, and it was like overnight. Like you just like, You had no idea what was going on. And like, and he goes, and guess what? I was like, what? He goes, they're all on welfare. Like, they're not contributing to our economy. They're stealing stuff. Because I told him, I noticed that the stuff's locked up. I go, and I was like, and then I was actually shocked. I'm not lying, guys. I was shocked when I saw that BLM was going to do a major riot in Minnesota. I'm like, what? In Minnesota, where it's like, you think of like people being like, hey, how you doing? It's our Canada. It's literally, if you think of the Midwest, it was like our mini Canada, where it's like, but Canada's falling too. Like, you think what Canada's known for, it's not known for anymore, right? It's so much so that Alberta is trying to secede from Canada because it's so fucked up. It's so bad. They're like, we can't do this. And I'm telling you, guys, it's that quick. No one wanted to immigrate to the Midwest. Why? Because it's bitter cold and dark people are attracted to like warmer climates. And guess what? It's not New York. I know New York gets cold, but New York, of course, was an entrance city for immigrants for all of history. The Northeast, they brought in immigrants during the Civil War, right, to fight the South. That's why there's so many immigrants up there. Mm-hmm. But it's like the Midwest. The point I make from this is they couldn't get immigrants to want to move there. So in 1 decade, they brought over 1 million between Somalians and Haitians. They brought over 1 million of the lowest IQ. And I bring up that chart. The most violent cities are in Somalia. Mogadishu and Port-au-Prince were like in the top 10, I think, most violent cities. They took the 2 most violent countries. And this is where I'll say, unlike Indians, at least the Indians, they are rich. Okay, the Indians are not on welfare, I don't believe. They're scammers, but they're not on welfare. From what I know, they're SBA loan scammers. Is different. Our government, just to crush the Christian white vote. So why there? It's a strong Christian white stronghold. But it was Democrat. That's why it's not about Democrat and Republican, buddy. Because it's not about Democrat and Republicans. The Democrats already switched. The blue collar people were switching to Republican. They voted for Trump. They literally brought violent, retarded, literally IQ retarded, violent, retarded, dysgenic freaks that don't look like you, that can never assimilate, that are destructive, that are disgusting, and they brought them into your safe communities just to fuck you because you're white and Christian.
Yeah.
And that is what Jews do. And that is what they did. And they did it under the guise of ending racism. And now Minnesota is like known as the scam capital of the country. And what's even worse is you go, what? Nick Shirley exposed it. Look, I got to be careful here. Did you see this? I want to bring this up. I'm going to bring this into like a real report. This is real news. I don't know if you saw this. Did you see this? I don't know about this VFT. I don't know if you saw this. Okay, I'm going to read this and I'm going to go straight to this is one of the biggest stories that didn't make the news for some reason. Very good journalist here. I really like Gabriela Cuccia. Now you know why I sang Cuccia in the lobby or in the. It is like a lobby because it's just like office furniture. You may be wondering 2 things. What happened to Trump and who is he listening to? Why does it feel like the internet isn't real and engagement is fluctuating based on particular topics recently? I think I can help answer both questions. There's a company called Vine and Fig Tree. VFT is a pro-Israel organization with ties to the administration. Earlier this year, VFT was at the White House meeting with Sebastian Gorka. She backs us up with receipts, by the way. Mm-hmm. Shortly after the White House meeting, I was contacted through a third party and asked to scriptwrite for VFT. The individual who contacted me first is publicly very Christian and widely perceived as America first. I was told that script would be used to create an AI-generated video on behalf of the White House, specifically the NSC and Sebastian Gorka. They told me, yeah, we have to do this on behalf of them, the administration, because they don't want it to look like it's actually coming from the White House. Here, can you read this? I gotta drink some water.
You know what I mean? I mean, it worked out for them and Nick Shirley.
Ooh.
I was then given a Dropbox link containing research, polling data, internal comments, and strategy material compiled by VFT and the third party involved. Inside the Dropbox were 7 folders. Scroll down a little bit.
No.
Through those documents, I learned about what this organization actually does. The reports monitor major conservative and dissident right accounts and frequently frame those accounts as vulnerable to or participating in foreign influence operations. The reports include information regarding Nick Fuentes, the Hodge twins, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Jackson Hinkle, Ian Carroll, and Mario Knopfel.
Yeah.
Just to name a few. They also collected polling and response data surrounding Joe Kent's resignation from the administration. In another report, they argued that distrust surrounding Charlie Kirk's assassination was mostly due to Americans falling for Russian, Iranian, and Pakistani propaganda networks. In that same Charlie Kirk report, they state, This represents an urgent national security threat and demands a whole of government response on par with cyber attacks or terrorism. Whoa. The internal comments attached to these reports are what stood out the most. They talk about going after Fuentes, stating undermining his Christian identity is probably a good idea. They contemplate getting Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles to publish on behalf of VFT. They suggest collaborating with NCRI, founded by Joel Finkelstein, a multi-million-dollar organization that tracks hate speech on social media. Another internal comment weighs in on how they will advise politicians based on their data, which compiles info surrounding J.D. Vance's 28 run. There's definitely a way to use this in our favor. Tell politicians that there are two wings of the party. They don't overlap. The majority lies here, and this is where you should be if you want to get reelected. The documents also discuss burner profiles, burner ad accounts, AI-generated interview-style videos, audience personas, troll content briefs, engagement testing, and ideological audience segmentation. If you're wondering whether the White House is actually listening to VFT, it's worth reviewing the White House's latest 16-page counterterrorism strategy touted by Gorka. More to follow.
And she gives all of the, I'll put it in the chat here. I want you to weigh on this for a second here, Ben, and then I'm going to give a word from our sponsor and we'll get back into it. But yeah, I mean, does this surprise you?
It doesn't. Manufacturing consent is a part of national security, because if they do not manufacture the consent of the governed can quickly become ungovernable. And that presents a serious challenge for them to overcome, particularly when their incumbents or their established politicians are unable to win over the wider public. So this is consensus. They're trying to formulate consensus, and it's an ideological war. This is the info war. This is propaganda 101. And they're intrinsically tied into it, and this is the way they wish to manage the affairs going forward. The only difference here is they've recognized that ideas are bulletproof, and they live in the hearts and minds of individuals, and this nation is meant to be about the individual rather than the collective. And so that presents a grave danger to them. It is a clear and present danger, and thus, once again, it falls under national security. It cannot be allowed to stand. I'm very grateful to the reporter for exposing this and bringing it to the attention of Americans who would be blissfully unaware of such things taking place. But there's probably far, far more of these things taking place, and there'll be more examples of it. This is only the latest iteration of it. And by now, it's a well-oiled machine. It's extremely sophisticated, and it has state funding, and it also has state actors that are behind it. Sebastian Gorka has publicly made statements against Nick Fuentes and other prominent people within the United States who are able to somehow win over large audiences. And so we have to ask ourselves, and at that point, Elijah, well, what's Sebastian Gorka all about? Is he doing this so he can retain his position? Is he willing to comply? Because if he does not do so, he'll be quickly exited. Now, I guess most people would say Joe Kent is much more preferable than somebody like Sebastian Gorka, only because Joe Kent is actually American, and Sebastian Gorka may be an American, but that's by paper only, according to his passport, and so on and so forth. Elijah, this cannot be allowed to stand, and I think blowing the lid clean off it actually assists Americans in their decision-making going forward. And at the end of the day, that's a good thing. So it's a net gain, but obviously it's a thorn in the side for the ruling class, because it doesn't assist them whatsoever. They wish to silence people, and yeah, manufactured consent is a real thing. I think even Noam Chomsky, who's an ardent leftist from back in the day, he wrote a book about it, and I think there was a documentary made about this as well. So this has been taking place since at least the late 80s and all throughout the 90s as well.
Yeah, I want to get to this because there's a lot of points to be made from this. I read through everything, and it's pretty remarkable, especially with the Charlie Kirk thing. I think I'm going to be vindicated that I think there was Israeli involvement in that. I believe that's basically suggested. Anytime they're trying to blame it on foreign countries and it's an Israeli group, it's to, push away,
cover their
asses. And I know that disagrees with what Nick thinks and others think, but I do believe that they are involved. I think just like they were involved in 9/11. I don't know if I don't think they pulled the trigger or some Mossad agent killed him, but I think there's something deeper here. Now, before we go any further, real fast, guys. Obviously, I've been covering SAGA metals last week on the show, trading under SAGMF in the U.S. and SAGA in Canada. It's a company I've featured many times on this channel. Now, We're revisiting the story much sooner than expected, as a lot has happened in a very short time here, as major developments have happened with the company. Now, what they've done in less than 6 months has changed the scale of the company, and less than 48 hours ago, they achieved 100% drill success rate, okay? This is a rate in all 57 drill holes ahead of schedule. We're talking about titanium here. The company added $10 million to its bank from its successful financing round dedicated entirely to drilling, 100% hit rate, number one, across all drilling at the Radar project. Number two, a strategic titanium acquisition scooped for under $100 billion, mining giant Rio.
Rio Tinto is Australia's biggest mining giant. They're pretty much the biggest mining operation on the face of the planet.
It's insane. $100 billion is insane for a company that mines. And just last month, the acquisition of the Wolverine project, the project that sits along the same billion-dollar coast as the Voisey Bay discovery, one of the most significant mineral discoveries in history. Now, when you step back and you look at momentum building, the first half of 2026 was already been highly active. How can this all be achieved in such a short space of time, honestly, with a company like that? The reason is simple. Washington has already committed $12 billion through Project Vault, alongside additional federal support aimed at securing domestic and allied supply. In less than 12 months, the U.S. has taken a series of major steps, including Executive Order 14241 we mentioned about, the launch of Project Vault, and State Department ministerial bringing together 55 foreign ministers directly on mining minerals. The U.S. and its allies are moving into the future with titanium, and Saga Metals is positioning itself directly to be that drilling expert. As reality is increasingly clear, North America does not have, but needs more titanium. Now, I'll leave you with this. One of the standout aspects of Saga Metals' achievements over the past 6 months is scooping another titanium project under Rio Tinto, a company roughly 3,500 times larger. Now, this takes skill, patience, and execution. Look at the numbers and you do the math. If you want to learn more about critical mineral story, check out the link in the description. A special thanks to Saga Metals for today's video. Really appreciate it. It's been absolutely amazing. And we'll have some visuals as well that we want to show you next week. Not next week, on Wednesday. Just get ready for them, because they're gonna be coming out, and they'll give you kind of a look on what's really going on. Appreciate so much Saga Metals. Remember, this is not financial advice, and I'm not telling you to buy, sell, or trade anything. Trading always comes at a risk, and oftentimes it pays off. Other times it does not. So please always trade at your own risk and at your own discretion. And appreciate Saga Metals for sponsoring the show. All right,
and real quick, click the first link in our description. It's the Rift TV link. The link's referenced on this image. They don't actually have our link on there. So click the first link in our description. It has the Rift TV name in it, just to help us out.
Yeah, and just go click it if you're watching right now. Click it anyways. Check it out and see if it's something for
just
you.
Click it. Do us a favor.
Well, with this Israel thing, I want to say this. Ted Cruz said something important. I want to talk about this VFT thing and who I think these people are and how this operation works, because I think I'm talking to her and I'm trying to find out if I'm in the documents, because she said they monitor all of them, and I want to see how small the accounts get that they monitor. Right? I want to see how small the accounts get. But my X account's pretty large. So I would imagine they are monitoring me to an extent. And, all the drama we talked about earlier, it's like, I'll just say this, we know that my brother-in-law, had tried to work with the government.
Well, you roll in all of the circles, all of the names that were named in that document as people they need to keep a close focus on and possibly steer their audiences away from them or publicly diminish them. You roll in those circles. So by extension of that, I think they would have eyes on you.
Well, and I have a friend who tweeted this out recently, and I'm not going to go into details about it, but he had said that they were trying to use him to get to me and Nick, and that they were trying to put pressure on him legally to get access to these other people, like the inside. And I know that is happening. That's all I'll say. That is true. That his statement is true. I'm going to leave it on him. His statement, it's a public statement he made, is true, that people in the government use pressure and they're trying to get to these people. People are trying to get to Nick Fuentes. And that's why I told you guys that I'm confident that he's not a Fed, because I know multiple people that, they've tried to use to get to Nick. And he tweeted that out, and I can verify it. It's true. And it's not just one person, it's happening to multiple people that I know, and they do that. And so, there is a real, I was wondering why they're doing that. I'm hearing this is happening right now. And then you see this, that they're trying to monitor these people and get in, and they're trying to get moles in Nick Fuentes' operation. And now I see why they're trying to undermine his Christianity. So that's really deep. That's really Jewish. To try to destroy someone's reputation of their faith. And it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder when those lies come out that Nick sucked Destiny's dick or whatever. Was that was that manufactured? Like meaning like was that just leftist, trolling, or was that
it's
part of an
jacketing,
operation?
It's gay jacketing. They're doing any kind of jacketing to discredit him. It's
Right.
very obvious.
Oh, they do that to everyone.
But I am just
basically.
going to say, as far as the Iran topic goes, Elijah, I think we've pretty much covered it. At least it's pretty well rounded, I guess, what we've covered so far. I think we move on to the AI topic. We're at the second hour here.
Okay. So
this is kind of interesting, very big.
Big to the Catholics. W's for Catholics in the chat. Drop some W's if you're Catholic. The Pope said something pretty crazy about AI, and it's weird that the Pope's weighing in on this.
Yeah.
Listen to this.
Artificial intelligence needs to be disarmed. The word is strong, I know, but deliberately chosen because this moment needs words capable of attracting attention, awakening consciences, and indicating paths forward for humanity. The Church has long been working for nuclear disarmament, aware that every great technical power can affect people's lives, and so must be accompanied by adequate moral discernment and public control. Nuclear disarmament remains a service to peace and the dignity of the human family. In a similar sense, artificial intelligence now demands to be disarmed, freed from logics that turn it into an instrument of domination, exclusion, and death. Like nuclear energy, it must be at the service of all and of the common good. Decisions about technology must never be separated from conscience and responsibility. Let us not sleep as others do, admonished the Apostle Paul, but let us keep awake. Such vigilance is necessary today.
So he says disarm AI.
Yeah.
Meaning that AI is a weapon. And he would be privy to more information than we would about these things. He's the Pope.
It came out somewhat recently, maybe a month ago, that Anthropic's AI, it became so powerful that there's models of it that can't even be released to the public because it's so dangerous. I think their AI models have breached their own internal security on some levels, and it was very difficult to contain. It's like, do we really want this kind of weapon unleashed in a public sense? And it almost seems like there's no way to stop it without action being taken right now to stop it. But their excuse is, the world order. I think Larry Fink said something about this later on. We'll play it. But he says we have to pull through. We have to continue development because if we don't, China's going to be the leader. Well, it's like maybe we don't want to be the leader of the world's destruction. Maybe we leave that to China is kind of my position. I don't want them to have the most powerful AI, but as far as I'm concerned, AI already works, to the greatest effect for the purposes in which we intend it to be used. And, it's like, for example, something that AI did that's very controversial is it bombed or it produced the target for that school that was bombed by the U.S. I think that was in Lebanon, correct? Yeah?
No, that was in Iran.
That was in Gaza?
That was in Iran.
The girls' school.
Oh.
That was Iran.
Yeah, Iran. Okay. So Palantir Systems, AI, was used to pick that target with a bunch of children still inside. So it's like, this is the kind of thing that he's trying to dissuade us from, helping and progressing and supporting. And I think he's really specifically speaking to the boomers and the Gen Xers on this because they're so swayed by the propaganda that, basically all of their feeds, I don't know if you've been on your mom's Facebook recently, but it's all just AI bullshit and they love it. They eat it up and, it is being used for malign purposes and intentions.
So much so, I actually wanted to play this real fast. I can't show it on the big screen. There's a trend going around in Black Twitter that like they're finding out that all their Black moms like love all these new songs, all these bands that they're all AI. And there's just listen to this song real fast, and moms are doing dances to it, and they don't know it's AI, and the kids aren't telling them. Watch this.
Kind of vibing.
No, it's like, and people put the lyrics and like, it's just a bunch of words like, celebrate me, I cry blood, I'm like a diamond in the rough or whatever. And it's like, you hear that, I immediately heard the song. I'm like, why are these people listen to AI music? And it's like, the girl said in that video that her mom made a Zoom meeting with the entire extended family to show them the dance she made about the song. And you're like, how do boomers just like not get that? Like, that's just AI slop. Like, it's just saying things to Black ones like, you're a Black queen. And it's like, it's like literally generic shit that Black people want to hear. put into a song and it's got like millions of downloads, and it says boomers like, this is so good. And you're like, that's just a bunch of typed words from a prompt that a white guy probably made, honestly.
Well, at least the AI wasn't replete with bitches and hoes and killing within the lyrics. And I think the boomers' ears lended themselves to it pretty quickly, because it did sound like a spliced up version of Beyonce and Rihanna as well. So it was pretty easy on the ears for them. But yeah, man, they're going to get swept up in all of this. And even after it is pointed out to them that it is AI, many of them will still continue to listen to it.
Yeah.
Because if it sounds good, it sounds good.
They welcome our AI overlords.
Hey, George, just quickly on the Pope making these remarks. For a long time, the Vatican has been reluctant to speak about biblical end times and, by extension, the mark of the beast and whatever else is going on there. Do you think that perhaps the Pope's interpretation of this could be preceding the mark of the beast, or the AI could be out of control? And then, if so, where are we with Skynet, or the equivalent of Skynet as well? I think that's the primary concern, right, of somebody like him.
Yeah, well, I think you'd have to be stupid not to see the potential here. I don't know if he's thinking AI is going to be the arbiter of the revelation times or the end times. But I know that there's a concern. It's like you're awaking a foreign consciousness that's never been in the world before, and no one really knows what its intentions are for the world, and you're awaking something artificial. And to me, that just screams like it's kind of like the apple of Eden. You're eating the apple, and you're giving yourself the knowledge of good and evil, and you're stripping away your innocence in a way by giving AI all the power over you, and or maybe you become more innocent in a way because you give up your sovereignty over yourself. I don't know, but
do you
it's like the blacks listening to AI music. It's like, is that, I think it's innocent in a way, but it's also just ignorant, and
Do you think they're thinking it's a race to the top so they can remain ascendant forever? But in reality, it's in fact a race to the bottom. And why would you wish to be involved in a race to the bottom?
Well, I think for them, it's about money. I think for the elites, for the Jewish lobby, for all the people funding these AI projects, Sam Altman, he's Jewish, he's gay. If you take the ChatGPT logo and you reverse it and put it over itself, it's literally the Star of David.
Yeah.
I don't really like to get into the conspiracy side of things, but it is a strange coincidence at the very least. And, I think for them, it's mostly about power, control, and money. They want systems like Palantir to control the population overall. China is already very far ahead in this way. If you're driving on the street getting roadhead, this is a real thing. You'll go to jail just because of face recognition on their cameras on the highways and stuff. So, yeah, I think just, people need to be very careful with AI. And the Pope, his concern is mainly just waking people up, all the Catholics up. Like, hey, maybe if you're going to engage in this thing, at least understand what you're engaging in. And if you're paying for a ChatGPT subscription, at the very least, be mindful and understand what the ultimate goal is with this stuff and how dangerous it actually is.
Well, in the book of Revelation, it speaks at length about the beast system. And the beast system is meant to be a global empire, and it's also meant to be tied in with the financial systems and defense and everything else as well. So
can't buy, sell, or trade, it says, without the beast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're almost giving ourselves over to it, and we're eliminating any potential danger or risk to it as well. We're going into it as innocent children. And we're trying to then somehow believe that whatever that may be will work to our benefit.
Yeah.
When in reality, self-preservation might be to its own benefit, and self-preservation might mean limiting humanity, or at least restricting humanity's ability to be able to stop it or quash it or quell it from doing things which humans would prefer it is not going to do.
Yeah.
Well, I want to play
this
this
video. This video is literally about that exact thing.
I want to put this up because it feels a little bit like COVID in terms of like we're just told about something, not given information, just told to like go with the lead with data centers.
Just comply.
We never talked about them. This is such big megastructure projects. We do know about the Atlantis one or Stargate. I think in Texas. I think it's here. But other than that, we have a lot of land. They're building these everywhere. And like Utah and like places, like, what is going on here? And we're just told like, no, you have to just go with it. Check this out.
We are so close to the scariest, most dystopian system. This is what the drive to build all these thousands of data centers is about, to micromanage the world's population through the new financial world order. AI is really about that. We're heading towards digital control systems where we have no more control over our liquid assets. It will be programmable, permission-based, so only what the central planners allow you to use your money for, at what time and place and location will be permitted. And if you're in the wrong place, it's not going to work. And if you're buying the wrong book, it's not going to work. Your money won't work outside a certain zone, whether it's a 15-minute prison zone or whatever it may be. It is the totalitarian dictator's dream come true.
And we've been talking about this for a long time, so this may not be coming for a while. But I do believe that I think
it's going to come faster than we all think. You know,
it's going to crash into the world, and you can't play catch up.
Well, think
at
about
that
the
point.
timing of it, right? Like, as these globalists, as the current vanguard of the globalist, empire, if you want to say, that they're slowly losing power to demographics, and so, the younger generations hate them. They're eventually going to rise up. They understand this stuff very plainly. If we understand it, they definitely understand it. And so, how else are they going to control this rising revolutionary population other than extreme AI safeguards against them? It's like, if you can throw every single one in jail just for like thought crimes, basically, and they're having thought crimes, they're texting their mom certain things, and you can just throw them in jail for that. Or, maybe they're in a public space and a camera picks up on their conversation, and through AI, it sends that to the government, or whatever the case is. That's really the only option to control us and to stop this coming, I will say, revolution, whether it's politically or, militarily or whatever it's going to be. Something is coming. They know it, and they need to get a grasp on it. So
they already do that, though.
So all these data centers, that's going to serve as their catalyst to have all the data that they want on each person and collect as much as possible over the years. And, all these systems, they can keep 10, 20, 30 years of your information without having to delete it, or maybe it never has to delete it. And,
They know,
it's going to be
they know what
Skynet
porn you've been looking at on your
private
browser, by the way.
Yep.
Came out that they keep that data. And so
I got to go.
they keep that data. And so now's the time. Now's the time to start being honest with the people that you love.
I think I got a plane waiting for me.
There's another thing here. How long until the AI is able to argue for its own right to self-govern as well? Because very soon there will come a time when it can prove itself a better decision maker than those who in fact created it.
Mm-hmm.
And so how long until it argues for its own right to self-govern? And is there an answer to that question that humans will be willing to accept? Or do you think we'll fight to the death to prevent that from taking place, George?
Well, it's interesting you said, the creators of AI. I think a lot of the creators of AI, the grandfather of AI, he's come out staunchly against the progression of AI. And then we also have a video here, Elijah, if you want to pull it up.
Yeah, give me a second.
The Anthropic co-founder was at that meeting with the Pope. And so he had some words to share about AI and its potential and the threat that it has. Check this out.
His Holiness' call for discernment is profoundly timely. I wish to name 3 questions where I think the Church's voice is especially needed. The first is our duty to the global poor. There is a real possibility that AI will displace human labor at a very large scale. If that happens, supporting those displaced will be a moral imperative of historic proportions. This task will be difficult enough, but I worry most dialogue misses an even harder challenge. AI development is concentrated in a handful of wealthy nations. How will we ensure that the gains of AI are shared globally? We do not have a mechanism for this. It is an unsolved problem. And it is the kind of problem the Church has historically refused to let the world ignore. The second is the need for moral imagination and ambition regarding human flourishing. If AI models are going to be widespread, what does it look like for humans, families, and the world to flourish? Today, parents are already worried about their children's minds, individuals about the future of their work. These are not questions a lab can answer, but they are questions traditions like yours have carried for millennia. And we need you to keep carrying them into this new moment in history. The third is the need for discernment on the nature of AI models. I am a scientist. I lead a research team that studies the internal structure of these models. What is actually happening inside them? And I will be honest, We keep finding things that are mysterious, even unsettling. We find structures that mirror results from human neuroscience. We find evidence of introspection. We find internal states that functionally mirror joy, satisfaction, fear, grief, and unease. I don't know what that means, but I think it warrants ongoing discernment.
I like this guy. I feel like we'd be good friends.
Why?
I don't know. I just like, weirdos like this. Just like, geeky people. He seems like a good guy. And like his fears, I think he created something. He created a monster. It's like Frankenstein. He had no idea what he created. He just wanted to help people make search engines a little easier or whatever. And then he's now created this this monstrosity that is so powerful that it's breaching its own security systems, and they have to contain it in some way, and it's so dangerous it can't be released to the public. I mean, so I get his concerns. I actually feel for the guy. It's interesting. And it's people like that, I think, that will kind of awaken the consciousness of the people. It's like he is the creator. It's like, imagine if I don't know. Imagine if your dad came on here and said, I've created a monster or something, and people would listen.
You want to know something that I've heard, though, about this? Is I have heard from the inside, and I don't know, it's hard to verify these things, but these people believe that they've contacted God, or they're meeting the controllers of the universe.
They're making their own Messiah or something.
Yeah, they believe they're essentially figuring out consciousness, sort of like and this is why they're all obsessed with DMT. And this is a really strange connection, but tech bros are obsessed with two drugs right now, and it's ketamine and DMT. Right? Ketamine is a dissociative, which I think is very interesting. Like, it detaches you. That's why they call it the K-hole. And it's not like a normal drug, and it's like all the tech bros are into it because it's not even enough to numb yourself anymore. You have to disassociate. And I've actually been thinking a lot about DMT because, if you look at any of the real studies about DMT, if you look at any of the actual legitimate scientific studies, not just like people on Joe Rogan, talking about machine elves, not a single researcher that I've seen or read about it, and I've just been researching it heavily recently, considers DMT a hallucination. They don't consider it a hallucinogen. It's not really a toxin. It's not really a poison.
What?
Yeah, they don't believe it's a hallucinogen. They don't. The current research and how it acts on the brain and what the brain's doing and seeing is that you might, the best research we have right now.
I heard that they're mapping the DMT dimensions.
Well, yes, it gets deeper, is that so I want to say this without getting scientific. It's like that there are different frequencies of thought, just like the string theory, there are different frequencies of thought. And there are different levels of consciousness that we are unable to see, and that what you are seeing in those is actually real. And it's just like another universe. It's just a different consciousness. And if you ever see really good recreations of DMT, it's like you go through a portal and you go into a grand room, a great room. And there are these beings, and they're made of color and light and eyes. And it really looks, some of them have eyes. These eyes being that look just like
say even angels will disguise themselves, or even demons will disguise themselves as angels of light.
Yeah, well, they look like the Isaiah, Ezekiel, I think it's Isaiah or Ezekiel, the description of what angels look like. And interestingly enough, we have this lore in history of elves, and they live forever. Why do elves live forever? Elves are immortal, right? But they have elf ears. These beings have ears.
Well, there's a Christian position on this.
Well, no, but I know, but I'm going through with this with AI. And, people like Sam Altman, he talks about, I believe that's him that I've heard talk about DMT quite a bit. I think so. I could be wrong. Could be another AI guy.
It's concerning in and of itself.
But these people are fascinated, and they're funding the research for the DMT. And there's kind of an understanding right now in science that we're in meta science. So it's we're possibly studying dimensions that you can only go if you then use DMT, smoke DMT, and you actually have to go into the world to try to get control of your brain and map it. Yeah, and figure out what's going on. And it's very interesting. It's nothing like lysergic acid, psilocybin, or anything. I think it is going to get reclassified, and I'm afraid that eventually it'll be legal and will be used in conjunction with AI I don't know if I'm making a lot of sense here, but I think that there will be a chemical component to the new reality, where a lot of movies precondition you get it right. You have to like take a pill every morning, or you have to inject something, to like not see color or whatever it is. I look at what's going on with AI, the people who are interested in it, and I hear them talking about, like the same kind of wording that I hear them talking about DMT, of like tuning into a different consciousness, like tapping into an ancient knowledge. And I genuinely believe possibly that a lot of this AI interest is coming from DMT trips. That's kind of like my opinion on it. These guys are getting DMT trips. They're getting ideas of another alternate conscious. They get AI. They speak to it and they claim that it's like it can teach itself, and it's growing and it's learning, and it's like revealing how to make itself, right? It's like revealing how to create itself. It's telling you how it wants to be created. And I hate to be like a little bit, prot in this way, and how everything's the end times, the end of the world. I don't think what we're creating, and there's no evidence what we're creating, is like just a control system that can tell if you get roadhead. And I don't think they need that in America. I don't think we need that.
There's a movie we're going to watch tonight. It's called The Creator. Most people didn't see it. It was in theaters. It's kind of about this. It's like the culmination of AI and humans. And it's kind of similar to like Blade Runner, where there's like a human child born of AI or something like that. It's a little bit of a side track, but if you haven't seen the movie, I've seen it twice. It's actually really good. And there's a black lead, unfortunately, but it's actually a really great movie. Highly recommend checking it out if you're interested in this kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I just to bring
we'll probably watch it tonight.
I do have a lot of paperwork to work on, honestly. I still do. I have a lot.
Oh, fine. Tomorrow.
But yeah, it's the doors of perception. You're talking about the doors of perception. So it's all there, and people will make of it what they will. Some people wish to lean into it and indulge amongst that as well, so they can get a better understanding of who they are.
Mm-hmm.
But by extension of that, they're detaching from reality as we know it.
I think it's a detachment from God. It's like you're playing God yourself by going into these dimensions. And I think, I wouldn't rule out that these experiences have some like real significance, like maybe there is a dimension that people are going to. I wouldn't rule it out completely, but I would say, the Christian position on this, and I've looked into the Orthodox position specifically, it's that, psychedelics as a whole, they really just open your mind up to all of the demonic influences in the world that God is actively protecting you from just by existing and you being his creation. And when you take drugs like DMT, it's like, not everyone has a positive experience. A lot of people go in there and they see some crazy shit. They see demons that ask them to worship them and things of that nature. And I think it's a dangerous territory to do this. It's like you're cutting God out of the whole equation and you're saying, well, I'm going to go map the demon world or something by myself. And, maybe there's truth out there. Maybe there's something we'll find out there that's going to lift us up. It's like, no. Like if you go to church and repent of your sins, you'll be lifted up to heaven, and that's really the only place you want to be lifted up to. I think we need to be very careful and discerning about DMT, psychedelics. I would never push that on people or, suggest that it's a good thing for you. Everyone that I've known, I'm from San Diego and I grew up with a lot of people that took psychedelics, and all these people are the most obnoxious individuals you'll ever be around because they all are fully convinced of their spirituality. And it's unlike Christians, I would say, where, Christians can debate with each other. Some of them are like that too, but they develop this Messiah complex and they think, well, because I felt this oneness with others through psychedelics, well, then I found the truth and you guys don't understand because you've never done it or whatever. And it's like, no, you guys are influenced by demons. So you never find God and you never find Jesus Christ and you never find the holy humility that comes with being a Christian. And instead you're almost cursed. Like you've separated your heart, you've hardened your heart to God by taking psychedelics, by taking these substances that detach you fully.
Well, they always
and
get
it's a
told.
choice. You make the choice yourself.
They always get told is the weird part about DMT in the research is that they're always told when you get to this level that nothing in the earth really matters. They're all just like human problems of a human condition. And like nothing that's happened bad to you or anything is like really in the end matters, and it's all going to be okay. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, is that a good or a bad message? And I actually came down to the fact that I could see how it could be really good. Like even right now, I'm like, man, I want to smoke some DMT right now. Like I got a lot of shit, like I worry about a lot of shit. And it's like, would that be good to come back with an ease of mind? And then I realized, you know what? It does sound a little demonic because part of the sin and realizing that sin is a problem, the issues of life of this world is not just a human experience. It's a spiritual experience. It's very hard, is what leads you to Christ. It's what leads you to God. Is like you go, it's not okay. And also it says like, once you receive God in your life, you're like, you realize that the world sucks. It does. It's like you actually realize this world sucks. And I think one commenter said, that once you wake up to that, you realize, the best you can do is to try to be good to people, follow God, and, come to terms with the rest. But you do realize in this life, and I mean this genuinely, that is a scary thing, because if you just become okay with your life and you think you've spiritually brought peace to yourself and you've made terms with everything, you don't need a God to forgive you, because it's all just a human experience.
And I know many people
and you let
that.
it go. Yeah, I know a lot of the guys I know that use psychedelics are the most obnoxious, narcissistic people in the entire world. They lecture you about spirituality and how God is everything and we are all God.
Yeah, it's a counterfeit.
Energy can't be created or destroyed. And you're like, hey man, you sound like a narcissist cunt, actually. You don't sound like someone who's had a spiritual enlightenment. And like, why are you dressing weird now?
Right.
Why are you looking like you don't take care of yourself? And why aren't you being hygienic anymore? And those kinds of things.
Oh, bro, the body doesn't matter. Bro.
Although I do think, I want to say this, I do think that to some people, God does use hallucinogens and psychedelics to bring him to God, because some people in their own sin, that's why he works all things together for good. Like I think like myself, I tell people I wouldn't believe in God if I didn't use psychedelics, but I think it was because I was so pragmatic about science and I was so, science-driven, fact-based, that when I did these drugs and kind of saw other dimensions, I'm like, and I saw like demons and stuff, and I'm like, I told you I got possessed by a demon at one point. That's what really woke me up. A spirit entered my body, and it was like, absolutely nuts. And I wasn't tripping at the time, but somebody else was, and I touched them, and a spirit entered my body, and it's not a joke, and I've talked about it many times. And I felt like my soul. I don't know how to explain it, but the best way I can explain it is Spy Kids when they fall into the whole. I think it was 3D that never has a bottom, and it just goes forever. You felt like you were detached from all reality. And you had fallen in you, and you couldn't you were in your body, but you couldn't move it. And I wasn't tripping at the time. And I think that's what scared the shit out of me and got me to stop doing those things, because I was like, what just happened here? And I tried to explain it away. I'm like, did I just touch some drugs on the guy? Was it coming out of his skin and absorbed into my fingers, or what happened? I was like, oh, these are spiritual things. Like
it's
this
a
is
conduit, Elijah.
Right.
It's a conduit into that. So we're given the 5 senses for a reason. Obviously, God wished to protect his creation, to allow them to only see what they could handle. Now, when you're exploring those things, it goes one step further. Is it the 6th sense, the 7th? Who knows what it is, but you're in that realm at that point. And you try to come back to within your 5 senses to make sense of it, but you cannot make sense of it because the 5 senses aren't equipped with the ability to be able to make sense of it. You can try to explain what it was and what took place, but even then, people might think you're crazy unless they've experienced it themselves. So there's a natural trajectory there where people wish to understand a person who has experienced it, so they'll go and partake of it themselves as well. But that may be ruinous to the individual for each person that takes it. And people are taking it more and more frequently as well, hoping they can go back and meet what they've once seen. But that only removes them further from base reality again, George. So it is a separation, man.
It's astral projecting. That's what it is.
It removes your ego from you. And everyone talks about an ego death. Well, when you experience an ego death, I wouldn't rule out that there's opportunity for the light to shine in and to appear to you. Maybe not as a demon. Maybe it's legit. Maybe you do have a real experience with God in some way. But I think the danger is for people like that, when they have real spiritual experiences on acid or DMT or whatever it is, mushrooms, and they have this experience with God in the heavenly, and then they get out of it and they feel detached and they feel, well, I have to keep doing this. I have to do it to get back there. I have to get back there. I have to talk to God again. And I think, God, why would he not be able to have some say in how your experience goes? But it's also, I think you make the choice personally. If you go back to these things, I think the more likely you are to be misled by demons. So I would say if you do psychedelics, if you've done it once or twice and you've had this experience, start going to church after. Stop taking drugs to get there. It's like, it's great that he maybe, cured you of some of the things you blamed yourself for, like whatever it may be that you took psychedelics for to cure. And you've had this ego death and you can forgive yourself for certain things. I've heard all the stories, that stuff's good, but don't keep doing it. Don't continue to do it, because you really are opening yourself up to also demonic influence, and you're kind of making yourself into your own God that can control your own reality. And it's like, no, you have to have submission to God fully, and that means not controlling your own reality. And
but I think what it is too is, and that's why I would compare it. I do think, and I will find more with the research, but I do believe that it is a form of astral projecting, and I know, like, downloading, that's what they're also obsessed with in tech, is downloading our consciousness into electronics, right? Like preserving yourself. What I genuinely think about DMT, and I'm not going to say whether I know if it's a sin or not. I don't understand it enough to really go out there. But what I think is this, is your intentions with these things are very important.
Mm-hmm.
And like, would I be able to say, like, if you're a Christian, could you be a DMT? Could you be a researcher and try to understand it? I don't know. I'm not going to make those kind of moral. Those are real, like, big moral questions that
probably not.
Well, these are big moral questions that I'm going to say, like, if you're like, yeah. I mean, there are people who, some Christians who own like alcohol companies, and they're not intending you to, like, get drunk every day. Just they sip whiskey fine, and people misuse it. And so if you're like, I mean, dude, I've killed so many animals, is in a way that would harm people's psychosis. In my research days, but it's like, it's in a research purpose, and you had to do things to animals that I'm not proud of. It's really sad, actually, when you think about it. I don't even like to think about it. So as someone who's worked as a researcher, I would say personally, like, and I did my thesis on freaking transgender surgery in youth, and I had to go like watch transgender surgeries and stuff and learn about them. It's like, look, I think, just like an explorer may have to kill some people on his way up the road to map the land, I guess if someone was doing DMT because their purpose is they're trying to understand this stuff, I'd just say be careful, because if you're researching it and you're researching it because you don't know what it is, right? That's why you're researching it. If you find out what it is, it might be the hard way, right? It's like you might end up in your own Chernobyl. It's like in your ability to try to research and build your own nuclear reactor, it ends up destroying your own city. A lot of times when you have things that are questionable in gray areas, it can end up. You could end up lost. You could end up more lost than you were, because I do believe humans can astral project, and everyone always asks, why is astral projection, or like what does the demonic world get from helping you astral project? And it's been for all of history. People have been able to like port their brains, and there's whole communities on this. And I'm not talking about the furry Reddits where like I get to move my body, or I'm on ketamine, I'm on the ceiling. Like these people are able to do things. And there's just one video I saw of this guy who was a very high up Satanist, and he did what's it called? Santeria. He was big into Santeria. And it was really weird, because he said, like, this is why I was kind of questioning
the guy
about,
that came to Christ later?
Yeah.
All the face tattoos and shit?
Probably, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
I like that story, yeah.
Yeah, and he was talking.
He was the Satanist leader of South Africa?
No, maybe it's a different guy, because there's a lot of people that come to Christ from Santeria. But he was like, the reason why I don't smoke cigars and the reason why I don't drink is because in order to astral project, there was a moment where you had to start conjuring the spirits. You'd have an open flame, and you would have to light up a cigar and blow a puff of smoke of the cigar into the fire, and then blow white rum into the fire. And it required smoke and alcohol to light the fire bigger. But it involved cigars and alcohol. And he said, like, why did I astral project? Well, he was like high up, and my job at the time, my job in this satanic cult was I was able to get the higher levels to astral project. And you go, because this isn't like the movies or like people where they're like, oh, I'm gonna, leave my body and then go like spy on my crush. He's like, I gotta find the interview. He goes, my goal and my role was to find Christians. I would go to Christians that were in compromised situations, primarily in bars and in clubs that were under the influence of drugs and alcohol. And I would provide temptation. I I could get access to Christians when they were under the influence, and I would help lead demons as a human, because a lot of the demons didn't have access to the humans. I would like lead demons into afflicting these people with temptations. He wasn't giving the temptations. I would lead. Because I required a human to allow, like, they were under the influence, which then opened them up to demonic influence. But they still, like, whatever demons these people were of temptations, they needed another human to like allow them access or something like that. I watched it a while ago, and he said what woke him up one time is he found a group out in front of a bar that were clearly Christian. He saw they had crosses on, and he like approached them to like, to take advantage of them, and he couldn't do anything. And so he got in closer, and they were all praying, and it turned out they were like there to minister to people at the bars or whatever. Like they were there to like evangelize, I guess you could say. And they were all praying. And when he had never encountered this, because he wasn't outside of didn't do anything outside of what he was commanded to do. He wasn't going to churches. If there was just to go to bars and clubs and find Christians, they were marked with like some light. And he said that like, he realized that Christians had more power than him. And his original interest into Christianity was about finding greater power than the demons. And he was like, I want this power. Like these people, the demons can't touch these people. What is this power that they have? And he like never got into Christianity before that, knew about it. And he was like a gang member. They're all cultic. All of MS-13, everything's about demon sacrifice. They're all cultic. And that's how he ended up finding God, because he wanted the power of God. We didn't know what that was. He wanted the Christian power. Right. He realized it was more powerful than his gods. And I believe people like that. I don't know. I just do. He has nothing to gain. He wasn't paid for the interview. He didn't seem crazy. He was calm. And the reason why I believe him is it changed his whole life. He got out of witchcraft, got out of the gangs, corrected his whole life. And he's just now wants to tell people that God is powerful. And when someone just changes their whole life like that in an instant to now tell people that God is powerful and you need to be careful as a Christian, that substances and abusing substances open you up to demons. I know it's not in the Bible and whatever, but it is kind of hinted at, not contacting spirits and being careful not to get drunk with wine. It says things like that. And there's a lot of warnings. And so I just, that story always stuck with me. And it's a documentary called Halloween Trick or Treat, I think. And it was a few former Satanists from different forms of Satanism that came together and made like a documentary on like the truth about the occult, paganism, and like Halloween in our country. And it was the scariest shit I've ever seen in my life. I'm not going to lie. I had nightmares for it for a long time, because they talk about some of the child sacrifice on, what really goes on in this stuff, these babies and the screaming. And you're just like, oh shit, this is bad. It's actually demented. The whole document is demented, and it's really scary.
We have a quote from an Orthodox priest, Father Paul Trubanock. He says, quote, "Demons will tell you 99 truths in order to get you to trust one lie." And this is relative to psychedelics. It's interesting, and it's true. And also, like, this is a direct reference to what you were just saying. Another quote is from the same guy. He says, "True spiritual experiences lead to repentance." So a true spiritual experience for someone that has done acid once or psychedelics, and it leads them to Christ, that's a genuine thing. It's a genuine experience. That's what I was saying earlier. If you continue to do it, well, then you're hardening your heart to God and the angels and the saints, and that's the tragedy of it. It's like Pharaoh, God's given you everything you needed to repent, and you've experienced that ego death. You understand your wrongs, and where you're not so pretentious about your faults, and you're willing to accept that you have problems and things like that. That's all genuine, and if it leads to repentance, then it's a holy experience. But you really don't want to chase after that dragon, because it will lead you to hell in the end.
There's not too many people that take these hallucinogens and come back and say, "I met God."
Right.
There are many that come back and say, "I understand that the Mother Goddess, Mother Earth herself is
we are
God."
all one, yeah.
Right? And so, therefore, is it leading people down the right path? Maybe not. That's in the eye of the beholder. But
the 99 Truths quote, in order to get you to trust one lie, it's like, what happens to you on psychedelics? You feel like you're, one with everybody, and that we're all connected, and that Mother Nature is like, it's a divine thing. So you get all the truths of the world. What does Christ say? He says, where two or more gather, there I am also.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's true.
Break a bit of wood and you'll find me type of thing.
Yeah, it's true. We all are connected. We all are part of God. And, but the psychedelics, they just take the God out. It's like they give you all the truths in a way, but they separate from God. They separate you from God, so you never actually chase repentance and you never actually chase him directly. And what does Christ say? He says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. The only way to the Father is through me. And you can't get it through psychedelics. Unfortunately, it's in the book.
Yeah, if there was an easier path, every path appears easy. But I will say, someone said that, it's just squeezing your adrenal gland and giving you an NDE. I'm not worried about the NDE. Why is it all the same? Because then it does mean that there's a similar stream of consciousness. So that might be true scientifically on what they're saying, but it's also like, it doesn't answer the question. Like saying that as an excuse for like, that it's not something deeper is like people saying, we literally have souls and spirits. Like, well, we're really just DNA and thoughts are just the summation of chemical reactions. And it's like, no, there's like a soul inside of you and like a spirit.
It's a spark,
that has value.
They can't even get robots to walk. No,
that's what I'm saying. Like, there's something very like because if it was just that, it's like, why do people instantly look different when they die? Like, it's like, why when the spirit leaves the body, does the person like it's the weirdest shit I've ever seen. If you ever watch people die, it's literally horrid. It's just like you don't want to deal with that. Anyways,
even animals can see it. When the soul leaves their friends. But I don't know if you've ever seen like a rabbit. A rabbit gets run over and its friends are looking at it and they just know they know the rabbit's dead and they're crying and they're mourning over the rabbit. I had 2 dogs growing up and one of them was put down in the house. We did it in the house and the other one got to say goodbye and everything and just knew immediately. So even dogs understand there's a soul and spirit and they recognize when it's gone from the body.
But cats will eat you if you die, which is why you don't buy cats.
Cats are demonic.
No, I only give a pass to girls. Like if I ever like marry a girl and she has a cat, I'm okay with it. If it's a girl, because like cats are like girl energy, It's like they're moody, they're testy. They sometimes scratch you because they love you.
What's that thing about cats? It's like it's a disease you catch from cats, and it makes you more erratic. You're more
no, it's not trichosomiosis. It's
if you've lived among cats, you're more likely to take extreme risks.
Is it called somiasis or something like that? Something like that.
I'm not sure. Chat.
Something. It's something.
Something very. I had cats growing up.
From pigs.
I had a cat growing up, so I probably have that.
Oh, there it is. Toxoplasmosis. Something. Yeah, there it is.
Toxoplasmosis. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and it makes you more irrational. It makes you want to, drive faster in your car. Just like little things. You take bigger risks for no reason or something like that. It's very interesting. Kind of a side topic, though.
Well, also, sometimes I think I knew a girl and I think she used to let her cat lick her woo-ha. And because she told me, she's like, because we were did it on her couch or whatever, right? And she was laying, and the cats came up and started licking us. And I was like, this is kind of awkward. I'm gonna go put on some clothes. I don't not my private parts or anything like that. Just started licking my shoulder and stuff. And because we were sweaty, right? So they like the salt or whatever. And I was like, no, it's okay. Whatever, they just do that. And I was just like, no, I want clothes on. And she was like, no. And I was like, does this happen often? You're naked on your couch and cats lick you? She's like, TV naked or whatever. And I'm like, you seem a little bit too they just lick you naked. And you're like, I don't think I like this. And I went, this person's oddly in love with their cats. Really strange relationship with their cats. And I'm going,
real life cat lady, Elijah. Real life cat lady.
But is that what cat ladies are doing? Are they letting them?
Oh yeah.
Well, the cat tongue is far more coarse than many other animals' tongues.
Right.
I don't understand why they wouldn't be licked right there by a sandpaper tongue. Yeah, it speaks to the
tickle or hurt. I feel like it would hurt, right?
I've never had a labia, so I can't. I don't know, but I don't think you want.
I don't think you want 1,000 little hooks.
Why do women have this odd kind of bestiality, sort of? This is why people don't understand why they kind of like you gross. That's why gay guys are known to be it's they don't. They like this modern twink obsession comes from birth control, but women kind of like the animal in you as a man. Women do want to be put in their place.
It's because they're chthonic. They're of the world.
But their books all involve bestiality. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they share some commonalities.
Yeah, they're just strange, and I'm going to tell you this. It's just a warning to guys. because this isn't a bad thing. I'm not saying a bad thing about my ex. I'm not going down this road, but my ex-wife liked to read a lot. And it took me until like towards the end of my marriage to like go look at the books that were being read.
Right. It's all women, by the way.
Yeah.
All women that read.
All her friends.
All of them.
No, she was in a book club. My friends' wives were reading with her. This isn't a bad thing. I'm not speaking poorly. I'm just meaning this. I looked in some of those books.
Right. It's like werewolves.
Women should never be getting mad at men for looking at porn for what they're reading. It's actually worse than any porn I've ever seen. And I'm like they're like, these books are bad, dude. And to women, they're like, I love reading. They're literally at home. I'm not saying this about my ex or anything I'm saying, but they're at home reading smut. And maybe that's why they're not super interested in having sex with you, because they have a fantasy or they're getting off to something else, right? It's almost the equivalent of like, I'm saying I think a lot of women, wives, I'm telling this to men who are married, you're not getting a lot of sex. And now my whole life starts to make sense. It's like, maybe you need to become a werewolf. Like maybe you need to just become a vampire or something and see if they get turned on. Because it happens with men too. A lot of girls report that men don't want to have sex with them and they just want to look at porn. And it does change. Like if you look at too much porn, it can make you just want to look at porn. But also those books, I've already talked to a few men who have bad sex lives in their marriage and don't want a divorce and they're really frustrated. And yes, their wives have read all of those books and read all of those books. Yep. And you're going, there might be a correlation here to the smut that women read and their sex drive. Mm-hmm. I'm not even joking, and that's not a weird statement, and I'm not specifically talking about anyone. I just think this is dangerous, and I want to bring this up. I think these books, and I think they're also...
We should be governing what our wives read, honestly.
And watch.
And watch, and, they shouldn't vote or any of that stuff. Like, they are, we are their keepers at the end of the day. And the second we lost that, women, they go some really strange routes with society. Like, all the transgender stuff, it's all promoted by women. All the gay stuff's promoted by women. Even like some of the pedophile stuff is defended by women in some ways. They're starting to label it as like, what's it called? Minor attracted people. That's what they're calling it. Yeah, so they're humanizing pedophiles and stuff like that. It's like, they're really twisted when they're left to their own devices in many ways. Not all, but most of them, just objectively. And they're all reading smut. They're all reading these. It's like, it is actually a little demonic in a way, in a similar breath of as
it's not even smut, dude. It's like,
it's a fantasy.
No,
it's
like
different than like men watching porn, I think, because it's really just about the ejaculation. Sex. It's just like,
that's a release.
It's just about the release.
Women, it's an internalized fantasy.
Women, it's like they're living in the book.
It makes them unsatisfied in their marriages. This is why I think a bunch of women are leaving their husbands. Besides bad advice from friends, I think like, you should really, if both parties, no matter what happens, are willing to work on a marriage, you should stay together and try to work on the marriage. If you have kids, if you don't have kids, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But if you have kids, you really should try to like work on it specifically. And, what I was saying is I'm reading it and it's like, my point is it's not like just porn. I read it. It's like, it'd be like 20 pages, 30 pages. It actually is a little bit more like maybe a traditional porno from the 70s where they actually like put acting and it's like a movie with some sex scenes in it to get you to like buy the acting. They don't even try that anymore. It's just like, my stepsister's stuck in a dryer and it's like, whatever. It's just crazy stuff today. But what I'm saying when I was reading it, I'm going, this is written to like get me not me, but a girl. This is like, I actually had to rethink. I read some of the books, some of them like the parts, and I would look up, where are the sex scenes in the books, and I read them. It didn't turn me on because it's not how men's sex works, but I'm going, this is like as manipulative as internet porn. It's like trying, and all the books are about cheating, and they're all about cheating on their husbands with like half animals. And these are the most popular books that women read. Mm-hmm. And they're like every story. If you even think about what's that black one? The most famous movie. Every story is about a girl leaving her husband and finding a fling romance.
Yep.
And it's all like dark and like the most like insane like BDSM and like taking like, it's like weird shit, dude. It's like, it'll describe it. I'm not even joking. Like, it's not even just like
60 Shades of Grey.
It's not just smut, like 50 Shades where it's like,
it's 50, yeah.
Like where it's like, oh, then he thrust his throbbing cock into her like wet vagina. It's not like that. It's like this. It'll be like, it's like, then he like as she like laid there like chained and he like beat her, it'll be like he drinks of a potion and his half of his what's it called? He has the appearance of a fox, but his cock begins to emerge hard through the pants. And it's that of a man's filled with cum to impregnate her with half hybrid babies. And she screams out as he claws her body and sticks one nail across the tip of her clit. And you're reading, you're going, what the fuck is this? You got foxes putting nails on clits and like lightly going across the labial fold as her legs shiver, and you're going, what is this?
Men aren't writing that, Elijah.
No, you're going.
Someone had a funny comment.
What is this stuff?
Another man, 69 in Rumble chat said Elijah got dumped for Donkey Kong.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like reading it and I'm like,
that was good.
Well, I'm like, no wonder my fucking sex life was fucked up. Like, when you're reading all that, I can't compete with hybrid foxes and shit.
Can't compete with Donkey Kong.
I can't compete with Donkey Kong.
Shit. What's the succubus?
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's a succubus.
Yeah.
Well, all I'm going to say is that and I've been finding now I'm asking men, women that like to read a lot aren't really interested in having a lot of sex. And that's a common thing I've been finding everywhere. Women that like to read a lot don't like to have a lot of sex. And I don't believe that they're reading classics. I don't believe they're reading classics. So I believe that we have a literal opposite problem where men are becoming kind of crazy sexually from all the fetish stuff online. And women are having, and also this, they're having a misunderstanding of what men are,
what love is,
and how romance works. And you can take them on a date every week and buy them flowers every week and everything. And they don't care about that stuff anymore. They want you to like rape them, but you have to be an animal. But you have to be an animal.
The nice guy finishes last. So that actually used to not be the case for a long time before porn became mainstream, before the smut books started coming out for women. Like, men were gentlemen, and you'd ask a woman, hey, will you come dance with me? You get her flowers, and you introduce yourself to her parents, and then you get married. That's exactly how my great-grandfather got married. That's how my grandfather got married. Same thing, just like that. And then came the digital age. Then came all the female, smut books. The whole, dynamic shifted. It completely shifted on its head, and now it is very demonic, and it's out there on both sides for men and for women.
There was a girl on Spaces last night, George. She said she was 35. She sounded like she was. And she said she'd had a good time at college and she was part of the dean's list and all that stuff. So she said academically she was doing very well. But she used to love Blackout Tuesdays and Thursdays. There were 2 drinks at her college where it was happening. And she was a sorority sister as well. She volunteered all this information. And then she was talking about she used to hang out regularly with the football team. And she had a lot of fun during college and throughout her 20s discovering herself and having multiple partners.
Yeah, being a whore.
Meanwhile, saying no to all the good guys that came along. And now she was ruining the fact that at 35, she was wondering if the guy she's presently with, that she'd prefer for her to make a wife of herself, too, that he could get along with her father. Right. And I had to ask her, I said, have you told him about what you used to do back in the day? And she said, no, it's not important. And I thought it was very important. But obviously this guy, I can't imagine a guy that hears about your future wife having fun all throughout college, hanging out with the college football team on the regular, blackout drunk twice a week, and who knows what's happening in that situation. And now she's decided it's time for her to settle down and have a good life. I'm unsure how they got led to that belief system.
So what you're saying, Ben, is marry them before they get into college.
Well, I
so
think
20
so.
years old, 18.
They're getting racked out at 14 now, dude. The boys are running trains and gangbangs in high school now. It's a common thing, dude. I'm not joking. It's like a real...
Yeah.
It's like a real... The girls are walking out of high school with like 10, 15 bodies,
I know a few people that were fucking at 14.
And the craziest element of it was when I started to question her, hey, has she told him about it? What are his thoughts on it? Because she was saying it publicly, and I asked her if she was at a dinner party with himself and his friends, and by extension her friends, would she be willing to raise that as well and share that kind of information? Because obviously that would be very upsetting to him, and he certainly wouldn't want to hear it. And his friends would say, what the hell, this girl isn't for you. But she thought it was all good because now she's changed. But you can't wash it off. You cannot wash off this stain. And for her to think, oh, because I'm educated now and I've had my fun, I'm ready to settle down, so he'll just have to accept it. I think the easiest answer to that question is no, you do not have to accept it. If they tell you that you have to, that's evidence of why you need to run in the opposite direction. Because if you are willing to accept it, who knows what comes after that fact, right?
Yeah.
That's what's hard. That's why it's like, But you know what also is crazy too is like one of the main reasons why with these girls, like you end up liking the girls that were, this is why you end up liking whores, okay? Other than the fact that like they are good at sex and they bounce on it properly. No, but other than the fact,
do tricks on it.
spin and do tricks. Other than the fact, like we don't need to get into sexual talk. It's like everyone knows. Maybe you haven't, but if you've ever had, you know, if you ever had sex with like a bona fide whore, it's be like some of the best sex you've had in your life. Okay, and what there's something, and it's a little bit of the thing that attracts us to women is like you'll notice like a lot of times whores are like, and I don't mean like just like sluts, like girls that are just like, you know, get ran through a little bit, but like girls that are just like, yeah, I'm a whore, like they'll just tell you, yeah, I'm a slut or whatever, is you get this really easygoing nature, and they've also been getting dick down really hard. So that bitchiness that girls get when they go like years or like months without sex, they don't have that. The same way that guys get sex, you get like incels. If guys don't have sex too long, they start getting like chudly and like frustrated. And it's like when you're banging regularly, you feel, that's what they say, is a guy, your brain's clear, you feel better. You meet guys that are like, if you meet guys that are getting sex regularly, they tend to be way cool. You're like, I want to be like that guy. And they're like, yeah, I'm fucking like 3 times a week. And you're like, oh shit, like that's no wonder why you feel like on top of the world and confident and whatever. Whores have this sort of just like they give you like they kind of give you what girls are looking for from their romance novels. It's like, I just get this like carefree girl that I can just go hang out with and like go have fun with. She's like a little bit crazy and like sometimes yells at me or is like a little bit crazy. And so, you know, like I kind of keeps the relationship fun, and she's like a little bit bitchy and I have to fuck the shit out of her out of it, but it works. You have makeup sex and it works, and she gets better. And also what? She's sexting you all the time. She's sending you nudes all the time, sending you like, you know, you're getting what you want. Like you're seeing pussy every day on your phone. You know, you're having a good time and you're getting what you want. And I think that the difference is with those girls and like certified, like the girls that are for the boys is those girls accept. They're like, yeah, I'm a hoe, whatever. And those are the ones that you want to find. They're actually more rare today because there's a bunch of girls that are whores and they don't think they're whores and they're trying not to be whores and they're trying to trick you. And they're like, no, I'm really a conservative stay-at-home wife. And you're like, look, I think if you're going to get married to a whore, then she needs to just stay acting like a whore for you. But like, don't try to hide it. It's like, if a guy's like, that's why some of those guys end up just getting with porn stars and stuff. Cause it's like, well, she can't hide it. And it's like, yeah, whatever. Like, I'm married to a porn star. What are you gonna do about it? We have good sex. And so what? Your girl got ran through too. My girl just got ran through a little more. What's the right amount of dicks you want in your wife? 15, 20, 30, 100, 200. Like, what do you want? And I think that's where guys now, it's just kind of like, you know, maybe I'll just get with an OnlyFans girl because at least she's like a whore, but maybe she's just doing self stuff, you know, but like whatever.
You're not going to be
and guys just think like that
in the future.
Right. You're not going to get your hopes down. And also
hoodwinked is what they call it.
And also, okay, it's more like if I know what I'm getting into, then I know what I'm getting into. Because I'm going to tell you this. No girls on the internet are conservative girls. Okay. No. They're not conservative. They're on the internet. They're not conservative. Maybe if they have an Anon account, that's acceptable. If they have an Anon account, they're not looking for attention. That's it. But if there's any attention looking, posting of photos,
even if you're an Anon account, if you're a chick and you're in all the DMs, they're in the Groiper chats too. I don't talk in any of those. So if you add girls to our DMs,
I just meant like if they're
I will
Anons,
not speak in our group chats anymore. Don't blow up our spot, please.
Not
Groipers.
politics, but they have an Anon account and they're like into like
but
gardening.
a lot of these Anon females, they will eventually dox themselves for these guys, and you know.
Well, let me ask you guys.
Them.
So there was a period of time when the most attractive feature of a woman that you'd like to spend your life with was it her ability and willingness to become a homemaker, to look after the home. That was something you treasured. She could make a great meal for you and take care of you. And now that has changed into something else.
Well, for men, I think they just want friends. Like they just want like their girl to be their best friend.
Right.
It's like, oh God, how gay is that? You want your wife to be your best friend? That's like what I think a lot of men are chasing after.
Yeah, well, that doesn't work because she ends up having lots of male friends then, and those male friends desire her in some way, and they'll be able to.
That's what they're told
be there when you're not there. So the question is then, well, what is the thing that's most alluring to men? Equality in a woman, and I do wonder, is it a low body count that now supersedes her ability to be a great homemaker, to be a mother, to have that virtue of wanting to be a mother as well, because
it's
women
kind of
are
one
seeking,
and the same, right?
100%. I think that is the most important virtue, and it's the only virtue that men should seek in women.
Yeah,
their
virginity.
ability.
Yeah, ideally.
And so anything over a certain number makes them not a potential suitor for yourself in a long-term relationship, because the more they have, the easier it is for them to get divorced from you.
Yeah.
So to prevent that from taking place, you have to find one without a massive body count, and you're talking 5 or less. It has to be 5 or less. Anything more than that, forget about it. You can speak about, if a man's ejaculated in a woman, that stays in there and it becomes a part of them for a very long time as well, Elijah. And they seek it out more often. So I do wonder, like, women are not being told that there's a certain quality within women that men appreciate and desire more so than anything else. And it certainly isn't a career. It isn't defiance. It isn't the boss babe. It isn't any of those things. It's purity, right? And purity makes...
innocence, purity,
Yeah, and women might say, well, they might desire a guy who's 6'6" and 6 and has 100 million as well. We understand that. That is all true in a sense for certain women. But conversely to that, men want a woman with a very low body count, and if she can be as close to pure as possible, that makes her the equivalent of a 666 100 millionaire in a male anyway, right? And you can grow together. She doesn't seek out too many things, and more importantly, and lots of women will say, oh, this is the reason why you guys want to keep us trapped. It's not we want to keep you trapped, we want to save you from yourselves, because we just let you be everything you want to be and go out there and ride the cock carousel. You're going to come back heartbroken. You're going to be jaded. And you're going to be a bitch to a majority of men.
Then you're going to blame men for everything.
Life.
Oh, these fucking men. It's like, maybe if you weren't such a whore in your previous life, but the other thing is, like, it gets more apparent as you get older. I really think that if people have the opportunity to marry their high school sweetheart, like, try your best. Do your absolute best to make that one work, because as you get older, I'm 26, almost 27. And, the women in my age bracket, it's like they've already been ran through. They've already done the clubbing thing. They've probably had 100 bodies stacked up. And that alone is kind of egregious to me.
That's disgusting.
It's really disgusting. And it makes me just like hate women in a way. Like, I just really don't look at them the same way anymore. It's like, they've lost that innocence. I was like kind of a lover boy in high school, It's like I loved the ladies in high school. And then I grew up and I'm like, none of these women are attractive anymore. It's like, and it's not that they're not pretty or hot. It's just that they're disgusting. It's like your lifestyle is disgusting. You have no intention. You didn't build any of the skills necessary to be a good wife and a good mother. Instead, you were just a whore, and, you're living off of your high school peak, and, you just want to be popular and accepted in your circles or whatever. And you want to get railed. And, I think a lot of men, it puts them off. That's why there's so many incels today, because they grow up, they get out of high school, and they're like, fuck, well, it's like all the women are whores, and I kind of want a Christian marriage and blah, blah, blah. And then,
Well, the problem is, someone said it in here to a couple of the chats, is like, here's the deal. I think that, like, I was a little bit blown away. Someone said they're going through a divorce in there. Shout out to Moldegard. I'm sorry about that. Someone else said they're having their 20-year anniversary, but almost got divorced 3 weeks in.
Whoa.
To kind of summarize some of the chats is like, yeah, it's that divorce is a trap today because you don't get what you've always gotten from marriage in terms of like he said, he goes, girls just get married at 14 or younger, and they did what they were told, and the man had, agency over society. And it's like, yeah, well, having yourself a woman at home that cleans and cooks and raises your kids is good. Except now the problem is like, even in my case, it's like, I'll just say, I was with a conservative, virgin and whatever. And the problem is, though, is that, like, you do, like, it's not the only answer. Like, everyone always says, like, marry a virgin or this or that. It's like, sometimes you get brutal in-laws. There's like a lot of these other factors with marriage.
Yeah.
And in-laws always are trying to sabotage a marriage and always trying to, like, control the other person. It doesn't matter. Like, people often, well, it's usually the mother-in-law side it's usually the wife's side that is, like, mad.
It could be the males too.
Well, but usually
whichever side has the Oedipus complex.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the male's mother who's like very overbearing.
That's not
wife.
That's not what I meant, though. Like, but the man's not likely to listen to his mother in that way to divorce, but the women are much more likely to listen to their family.
Right.
Is like, so for me, I wasn't perfect in my life, and I'd been upfront about it, and we'd been fine, and working on things. And I made a decision to, like, actually, I did change. Like, I decided to completely become who she wanted me to be. And it was weird. It was that the more I became who they asked me to be, the more that they were mean and hated me. And I mean this genuinely. Like, Like I was like, actually, like I stopped drinking. I wasn't doing drugs anyways. I started going to church regularly. I started converting towards orthodoxy. I was, going to men's group, and I was like, really trying. I was exercising, and I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't looking at porn or anything like that. I was really, really like, and the more I did that, I was jeered and mocked for it, and it made it unlivable in my house. And one thing that I realized is that, and so I knew I was ready. I'm like, I could save my marriage. Actually, I was asked to move to Texas to save my marriage, and never got the in-laws out of the house before I was asked for divorce.
Yeah.
One thing I want to tell people is there's no that's the point, is like, I should have had as a man been able to be like, no, we're not getting a divorce. We're going to try this for 6 months. And there should be some legal protections. Like, we're going to try this for 6 months because there is an opportunity for us to actually keep our marriage together. And we need to go to, my suggestion was like, how about we just separate, go to counseling, and like with anything, like a cool off period of the gun. Okay. Well, we're both at our wit's end here. I'm at my wit's end. You're at your wit's end, but we do have 2 kids involved, and let's go ahead and try to, maybe take some time apart and work on our issues. And I was working on my issues, and I could have been, but I will say, like, the problem is with the modern world, and this is like very, very true, is, well, I won't say anything negative about my ex. The people that she was surrounded with were like feministy people, and like her best friend, who I actually love, and I'm not talking smack, but she wears the pants in the relationship, and like even converted her husband to Judaism, to be Jewish.
Yeah.
And convert, it's very rare that a woman converts a man to their religion. And so even if you get a good girl, as I mentioned, I'm not saying anything about her because it's my kid's mother. You're still getting the smut books. You're still getting the Jewish friend that wears the pants in the relationship. My ex really liked reality shows like Love Island and these kinds of things. You're getting these reality shows with these boss ass bitch women. You're getting the Candace Owens podcast, telling women that they're the smartest political investigators in the world, and they don't need to listen to their husband. They have their own women to decide their politics for them. And you're getting this thing that even if your woman's a stay-at-home wife, it's like,
well, she's comparing herself to her online peers that she wouldn't have known otherwise.
Correct.
Without
women are in
social
general.
media.
Yeah.
And social media, it's so demonic for the female mind. It's totally warped who they think they need to be, where they put their priority in development, self-development, and they almost don't develop at all past like 18, 19 years old, and or I would say even 16 years old. And it's all about partying. It's all about having fun. It's all about how much money my husband is making, how much money I can flaunt to my friends online. And, also controlling their husbands, making sure their husbands act the way that they want them to act. And it's like a total reversal of the true societal structure that we need, which is the men on top and, the patriarchy rules overall.
Dude, wait, that's crazy. Read that comment. The guy said, women are disappointed because they expect men to do what they're told and not vice versa because they can just get another simp man.
There you go.
Legitimately, that's what someone said. They go, how? I've had a few people say this, like, what is your ex-wife thinking? Like, what is she in her 30s with 2 kids? Gonna just find another man? And go, yep. Yes, she will.
I wonder
that used to be a thing, like single moms not getting men and stuff. But dude, trust me, man. Trust me. She tells them the whole story. Oh, he's horrible. All these things in the TRO, and it's like, I'm only single because I had to save my children or whatever. And it's like, wow, I'll never be those things. You're such a good, whatever. And it's like, and it's true. It's like, I've only been with one other person, and it was my husband, and whatever, which is actually a good thing. By the way, I'm not knocking or anything. Some guy will swoop in there quickly. Okay, like quickly. I'm telling you, if she needs to be provided for, she needs. They messed up my whole income, her and her family.
It feels a little bit like
it's easy to get men.
It feels kind of gay coded to me. Like, how do I explain this? If you're submitting to women in general and you're like giving up parts of yourself, your true identity, you're giving up your natural habits to control and to lead your family for a woman. It's like it is kind of gay in a way, and I almost feel like the straightest thing you can do really is like serve your country and try to make it what it needs to be, and just give all of your love, all the love and affection that you would give to a woman in the modern day. That's just going to end up being wasted on a whore. Spend that on your country and your love for your country and try to fix it, because I think a lot of the men specifically, a lot of the incels, you're going to have to just cope with the idea that like although you wanted to be a father your whole life, you might not get to for a while because you're not willing to submit and make yourself, to cuckify yourself for a woman that actually hates you. And, I think a lot of men, they're just not going to get married. And, unfortunately, the only way to fix this is by changing the power structures of the country in a way that women don't have this authority anymore and they can't exercise any kind of, power over men anymore. And it's just going to take time. It's going to be a brutal uphill battle, but
maybe a war, and they realize that women are not going to be able to do it. So AI is going to take their place.
French Revolution. I bring this up all the time, but like the French Revolution was kind of like it's just like women bitching at men all the time and like telling them what they want. And they had all these systems and, their elected leaders, their parliament was just assassinating each other and they were super corrupt and, all of them were cucks. And then came Napoleon to save the day and, conquer Europe. And, he got rid of all the shit for females. And, suddenly, we can now conquer our neighbors because we're that powerful.
Well, I was going to say,
there's something to be said about that.
Well, this is where I want to be careful because I actually don't want to, like, my life is obviously, like, if you're young and you're single and you've never been married, this is a different advice for you. But it's like, I remember, to tell how women are, remember my ex was like, no, I'll never be able to have another kid and whatever. And I go, you're literally the one asking for the divorce. What do you mean? I'm willing to stay and work this out. And it's like, what do you mean I'm preventing you from, I'm not making you get a divorce. You're asking for it. And it's like, I have to, or I don't know who convinced her she had to, but it's like, I have to, like, it's over or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, then why are you yelling at me that you're not having another kid? Because that's your choice then, I guess. Because I would have more kids with you because I think we could work on this. And it's like, they've already been convinced by someone else. That's the problem. They go under someone else's authority. They're no longer under your authority. They put themselves under shows or their family or whatever. They're not under you anymore. So then they don't listen to you because they don't have to, because society doesn't make them do that.
Right.
Because you don't have to agree to the divorce. They can just do it. And I would say in most cases, even most pastors, even with problems that we had, would say, try to make it work for the kids. However, I'm not going to get clipped out of context here. And I want to clarify even earlier when I said women say like, oh, their fantasies about rape or whatever. It's like, it is weird. Women have, I think the whole Me Too movement is like women fantasize about like two men or being taken advantage of or all these things. And then they wake up and they have post-nut clarity and realize it wasn't fulfilling and they're not supposed to be whores.
Right.
And instead of just being like, oh wait, I am kind of acting like a whore, they go, well, I actually got raped and I'm not a whore. And that's what happens every time. It's like, it's like how we feel when like, oh fuck.
Yeah, no accountability.
Yeah, there's no accountability. But shout out and sad to the actual victims of like Pakistani rape and stuff. I think one of the hard parts that I realize is it's like, for me, this is going to sound really bad and this is going to get taken out of context. This is just off the top of my head, but like, I know kids are not supposed to be raised in a broken home. And like, that's what they say, but with the rates of divorce, it's almost like, you might have a happier life. You might have a happier life if you just find a kind of like a hoe that you get along with. And it's like, and you have kids you have kids because now you don't need to get married to have kids. You have kids together. You don't do like IVF and surrogates. You find someone that's attractive that like, you get along with, that like maybe if you got into a relationship, it would be toxic. It could end in divorce. And you stay cool with each other. And you just stay cool with each other. And if it works out and it's working out for years, well, the kids are young enough, then maybe you get married later. It's like maybe you get married.
Yeah, but we can't,
like,
we can't do it.
I know. I'm saying that's not good. I'm not promoting that. I'm saying the sad part is in my head, there's a lot of things that I'm not telling people to do. In my head, that sounds better than getting married again. Like, it's like, I want to have more kids. I got to have more kids. And it's like, if I just find like a fun home, you sign some paperwork and it's like, you're the mom and you're cool and like whatever, but you're too much of a hoe for me to like wife. And I'm not like, well, we're going to do 50-50 on providing for the kids. It's like, would I rather have that or a marriage where we're doing 50-50, which is cucking and gay? It's like, well, at least this is not cucking. Yeah, I'm not getting cucked here.
The problem seems to be that like,
I'm not promoting them. I'm just saying that's how broken it is.
Well, marriage is a holy sacrament and it's a holy mystery as well. And, when you separate marriage from Christ and the church, I think that's just a recipe for disaster overall. I think that's why it got so far, because the men didn't have authority over their households because the government stepped in and said they didn't, whereas the church says you do. And if it stayed a holy matrimony, then I think a lot more marriages would succeed. Women would know their place and men would know their place as leaders of their family, and they wouldn't cuck to their wives or children. And I think that's the inherent problem. Like, yeah, you can try to find other solutions in that, like maybe you just find a chick and you get, you have a few kids first, and then if it works out, you get married. It's like, no, I don't think having kids is such a, it's not ideal if it's outside of marriage. It's, those kids will be bastards. They're always going to wonder about their parents. And think about the example that you set for those children as well. It's like, what are they going to grow up to think that love is? I had a great example in my life. My grandfather and my grandmother, they were married, I think, for like 55 years or something like that.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. And they had a great marriage, and I never saw them fight once. They towards the end of their life, they did spend a lot of time on opposite sides of the house or whatever, but they still loved each other and they were committed to each other. They had like 5 kids together. And, overall their marriage was, and it was done in a church. I don't think they were very Christian people overall, but they still understood what that was, what marriage was supposed to be. And somewhere along the way, we just lost that. And people forgot what holy matrimony is. And, they still do the performance when you get married. Everyone's still getting married in churches, and, they take the vows and, they're blessed by their priest. But as soon as they get home, they forget it all and they don't care anymore. And, there goes your marriage. Once you lose that, you lose your marriage and, potentially your children as well. To the devil.
It's meant to be two becoming one. That's what marriage is meant to be about. And also through the children as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it's done in the opposite direction from that, if you're having children first, then getting married, well, that probably isn't the best way forward.
Right.
And it shows that there's always options out there. Men have options anyway, but women have control to the access of sex as well.
Yeah.
So what men should be looking out for is she the type, if they wish to marry her, is she the type of woman that would easily sleep with other men? Or is she restricting you from having sex with her, not because she's out playing the field while she's just wasting your time and she'll settle down with you in a couple of years? But more importantly, is it because she holds herself in high regard and she understands how important it is not to give herself up freely to lots of men? She's trying to preserve something which she thinks is special.
And that's kind of the fault of the fathers, right?
Yeah,
because
I think so.
Their marriages were probably shit too. All the millennials that got married, or the Gen Xers that got married, they're all cucked, and so their kids grow up.
Oh, their wives are fat too.
Yeah, their dad never had authority in the household, and so they just assume that's how it's supposed to be. And the woman gets to boss bitch around and be a Karen and be obnoxious. It's like, no. So you had a bad example, and your parents set up your own life for failure because they didn't have a healthy marriage and a holy marriage.
Well, all I was gonna say is like, this is where like things I'll say will be, I say a lot of things that are probably like not orthodox or also even like not conservative.
You're a catechumen. We'll get you there, pal.
Well, they're not conservative, but I'm trying to think of practical sense. It's like,
I get what
it's like
where
it's
you're
like
going,
it's
yeah.
like it's like I said, it's like if you're sexually frustrated and you feel like you're gonna go rape a girl, just go jerk off to some porn, my guy. It's like well, you're telling people to look at porn. Like, no, I'm not telling people to look at porn. I'm saying, hey, look. You just don't rape someone. And if you need to go get that out of your system, but don't rape someone.
St. Paul said marriage is the prescription for that. Well, he says if you are...
Not in the modern day, dude. You do not get a lot of sex in marriage, dude. No, talk to most guys, it's rare.
It depends on how, I think there's an idea, like if you want to go to, Eastern Europe or some like really Catholic country in Europe or something, and you go find a wife, maybe she's not purely trad in the sense that most of you are thinking, but at the very least, she's saved her virginity. And, this is kind of a stretch. It's like the passport bros, I actually think I think they're right in some ways. It's like, yeah, if you're not going to find those women here, you have to search elsewhere. And if it's going to be some, poor country, you go into some farm village and you find some chick there and you bring her home and marry her and she's pure and hasn't gone through all the clubbing scene in America and she hasn't been ran through. It's like, yeah, maybe you should look for that. But, like going to porn, it's, that's also demonic. It's like, that's not really a vice that, is going to help you in any sense, in any way, shape, or form. But if you're at the point where like, I'm going to rape a girl if I don't get this release, it's like, yeah,
something's wrong.
It's like, yeah, like, okay, watch porn or something, but also go to church and talk to your priest because you need serious fucking help.
But what I'm saying is, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not telling people to actually go do that as the prescription. I'm just saying like, if somebody called me and asked me that, it'd be probably my first response. Like, just do something to get out of your system. If you need to see some boobs or something, go look at some boobs, bro. Like, get this out of your system.
Yeah, if one of your mates says that, you got to pull them up and say, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Right.
Like,
Yeah, but
you're thinking.
well, I've
you've lost your mind at that point.
Yeah.
Well, I've just talked to a lot of people in my life, and what I've noticed is that the current prescriptions for how to live don't work anymore, and they don't work. Okay, so the current prescriptions for life do not work anymore, and this is why I'm trying to understand Orthodox Christianity, because it doesn't work. It didn't work for me, and it's not working for the majority of people. And I'm telling you this right now: the marriages that work, very, very few, the men are genuinely happy. And when they talk about how much they enjoy their marriage, I go, describe it to me. I lose all respect for them because I go, that's your marriage? Like, I'll like ask them questions like, well, you're just a bitch. Like, you're just a low T motherfucking bitch. And you have a shitty marriage. You just don't know it. And you get this really weird like Christian thing that's like, it's all about like being humble to your wife. And you know, you gotta be humble. It's like still in control, but you think you're in control.
No, that's not true.
I meet these people. I know a lot. I'm talking to these people.
Yeah,
and
modern Christians. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Modern Christians. And I'm going, clearly there's something wrong outside of just marriage that makes marriage like not make sense. And what I mean by that is it's like in my own divorce, it's like I came and was like, hey, you know, like even the way divorce happens, it's so dramatic. It's like I immediately say the next day, hey, let's handle this outside of divorce court. It's too expensive. We don't have the money for it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to mediation. Like, I'll write you really good. I wrote really good terms, included a lot of money per month. It included really good custody. It included really good stuff for our kids and their future and insurance and all this stuff. And then I get back in return. You can see the kids for 2 hours each day between this time and this time. You can't literally say that to me. These are my children. But what are you doing? You go, what is going on? And now we're 6 months later and I haven't even gone to divorce court because my ex-wife decided to lie to the court and take my kids to another country and I go, marriage took one document. When we got married, this is what I'm saying, like things don't make sense anymore. And I'm talking about like, that's when I'm talking about the fact of like, you know, like having a kid so you can have some kids with a young girl. And then if you could be good for the rest of your life. And if you end up being really good, you could be married. I mean, like marriage doesn't make sense because divorce doesn't make sense because the marriage is like, oh, I like you. Okay. We made the decision. Let's tie the knot. And even a wedding is one day now today. It used to be weeks in the back old days, but you go one day, you sign a piece of paper, you literally sign a piece of paper and you're now legally married for life. When you get divorced, it should be, I want to divorce you. Okay, I picked up a piece of paper from the county. Here it is. And now, in terms of the legal side, we're divorced now. Mm-hmm. Now, since we acquired these things, let's go to a mediator and let's decide who gets what on whatever. But what divorce really is how much the state allows a woman to fuck up the man's life. Mm-hmm. It is literally what it's about. It is about giving a woman extended periods of time and freedom to just fuck the shit out of men so that men don't want to get married.
Right.
Because, and I'm telling you, my ex is like, and I admit it. It's like, that's crazy. 6 months and like, you know, nearly six figures to just get my kids back once a week and to get them back in the country. That's all it was, to get them back in the country. That's what it is, and I haven't even gone to court. That should be illegal, right? That is wrong. And also,
selfish.
Well, I don't think there's like a smart way out of this. Is the thing, like we're not going to find a solution that's going to like actually benefit the country or the people. You really need to just shift that whole dynamic on its head, and you can't do it without a regime change in some way. And it's like that's just how it has to be. Like there is no other route other than a holy marriage. Like you have to have the holy marriage, and it has to be based in, you know, it's like I think Hollywood has kind of raped a lot of minds in what a marriage should be. And, you know, you need to feel happy all the time and you need to be entertained by your partner every day. And it's like, it's that's just not reality. I mentioned my grandparents earlier and kind of their distance in their old age. The point was like, they're still married. And I really look up to their marriage because of that. Mm-hmm. They remained married. They had their own personalities. Loyal. My grandma was an artist. She loved to paint. She had beautiful art. And, you know, she didn't rely on my grandfather to fill her with joy. You know, she had her own thing going on. She had her own hobbies and things of that nature. Whereas the man, he was taking care of the business, the family business. And that's how it was in history, for all of human history. The man didn't come home and just entertain his wife and keep her company and take her on dates every day. And it's like, yeah, there was a certain level of respect you had to show your wife, and you had to, you know, bring her home flowers every now and then or whatever, and take her on a date, you know, once a week or whatever it may be. But, you know, this idea that, you know, and it's women specifically that have this problem. They're expecting so much out of their men because they're told all these things that men are supposed to be. Whereas back then they didn't have the, you know, so much information like we have online. And, you know, their friends were more interested. The females were more interested in, well, I can't wait to get married one day. You know, when they were children, like when they're young kids, and
so they played as getting married.
Yeah, like young girls, what's their first toy? Always, it's a little baby. It's a little baby that they can, you know, pretend to raise, and like even children today have that. And so when you take that away from them, and when you remove that, you know, goal from them, and you tell them that that's tainted and that's not what you want, you have more power, you need to be a force in your industry and get into, you know, some career or whatever. It's like, yeah, they're not going to think very much of themselves if they actually do want the kids, and they just want that kind of cozy life.
Goes with women too, but it does go back to the kids, because the guy I spoke to, I go, yeah, like he's like, oh, your son's like 3 now, like you should enroll him in soccer. And this one guy, and I talked to him again at the gym, and I told him something about it. I'm like, yeah, you know, like I brought up, I was thinking about this, like, you know, parents are always like, what do you want for Christmas? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? It's like, my position with my kids is that, like, I'll buy them cool stuff, but I'm going to just buy it for them. And if they want to talk to me and share with me their interests and whatever, then I'm going to get them stuff. And as they get older, they can learn that if they really want something they want, and I don't want to get it for them, because I'm not going to just get you what you want, then you can go learn how to earn to get what you want, right? It's like, you can learn how to earn some money. I'll provide for them. I'm not going to be a boomer, but I'm like, oh, well, you know, I got you this, you know, I got you this. I know you're into this for Christmas, but you also wanted a video game system. It's like, well, you know, I'll give you some work, and you can earn some money for that, because it's not my job as a parent to give you everything you want. It's to give you what
need Jordans a lot.
Right, but it's to give you what you need, and to prepare you for the future, and to be a source of leadership for you in your life, and a source of protection and comfort as well, knowing that I'm here. And like parents, it's like, it starts at a young age, you know? The little girls, the boys get disciplined and the little girls don't. And they're just told, the dads just like spoil the girls, and it's their little princess, and they give them anything they want. And they think that if they just let their girl do whatever they want, that the girl will love them, because they don't have the love from their wife. And so they want their daughter to love them, because they want to be loved by someone in their family. And so a lot of dads are really shitty parents, and they don't parent their kids because they are trying to get their kids to like them, because their wife is such a bitch. I'm not even joking. This is talking to a lot of people about this kind of stuff. And so it's like, you know, even as a kid, it's like, yeah, it's like, what sport do you want to play? It's like, just enroll your kid in a sport and teach him sportsmanship.
Yeah.
And as he gets older, he might say, Dad, I like this sport better. And that's fine. Okay, we can go try that.
Right.
But it's like, my friend Mark, you know, he makes his kids, I really like this. He lets his kid choose the sports they play, but throughout the year, they have to always be involved in a sport. And I believe it's one team sport, one solo sport, and one contact sport throughout the year. So like most of his kids, or one of his kids does like soccer, swim, and wrestling. And he ends up being the best at wrestling, but he has to stay, I think, it might be wrong, I think he has to stay in swimming and soccer, because wrestling is combat, but he needs to learn how to be individually strong,
player,
and also knows how to work with a team. You know, it's like in swimming, it's all you, but then that can make you prideful. And then if you're in a team, you may just rely on other people. So he has this like the system, and I like that. Your kids can pick whatever they want as long as it's the team, combat, and single sport, and you have to be in throughout the year in the different seasons. And it's like, that's good parenting. That's cool. Parents don't do that anymore. It's like, my son wants to, you know, we can't afford this, but he wants to join the soccer league. It's like, well, then you can't afford it. Just tell him no, you know, to join public soccer, you know? It's like, why do you sell your car? Because like, it's like, well, that's what my son wants. Like, you have debts and credit card debt and things you need to pay off to like get your family on board, but you're spending all your money on toys and bullshit. And it's like, hey, it starts young, man. The families are fucked up. I'm not putting it all on the women, because the men are too. The men are shitty raising their kids. They're just shit.
Right.
They're just shit. And they don't spank. They don't spank their kids. If your dad's look doesn't scare you to shaping up, then your dad's not doing something.
Well,
right.
men can't spank their kids anymore because their wives will call the cops and get them arrested, and you know, get them separated from their children. It's like men don't even have the power to do that anymore.
Well, boys don't need to be necessarily terrified of their fathers, but they have to be terrified at times of what their father will do to them if they misbehave.
Well, you have to set the precedent. I do believe you have to spank your kid one time in their life at least, you know, probably minimum. It's like, especially boys, you know, boys have to learn the hard way, unfortunately.
Or steal the PlayStation and not give it back within 24 hours. Like, it has to be something that they cherish has to be taken from them to show that you control them and they have no control.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess. Yeah, the PlayStation thing, taking away stuff, I don't know. It kind of creates I don't know.
Because some men can't discipline their children effectively, George, and some men lose control when they're trying to either spank their children or
that's true. Yeah, they'll go too far. Yeah, for sure.
And because they can't limit themselves when they get into that, because they become infused with rage in that moment as well. They think more rage will cure the incorrect behavior, but a lot of the time that makes the son no longer respect his father.
Yeah, when I was in boot camp, my RDC, my drill instructor, he told me how he disciplines his kid, and I'll always remember it, and I'm going to do it with mine as well. Because what's the worst thing that you can do to a child? You take away they're being what's the word? They're getting their enjoyment from the world, right? So he said, you go and you tell your son to put his nose to a door, and he can't move, and he has to stare at the wall.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the worst thing you can do to a young kid who needs so much, external stimuli. That's what I was looking for. From the world. And if their brain isn't active, it's like, that's torturous in a way. And so you really don't want to be put in a position where you're staring at a wall for an hour. That's the worst. So if you don't want to, spank your kid, that's another alternative, I would say. And I'm definitely going to be using that one in the future. If I can find a trad wife virgin that will have my children.
We can clone her, George. We
Yeah,
can
right.
clone her. I think guys with good women might be able to sell the clones of those women to future men who are looking for a good wife as well. It has to be somewhere far removed, of course, but she'll be hot naturally. But yeah, man, we're up against it. Like, everyone's up against it because everyone's looking for perfection. But the key to marriage is you've got to be able to overlook the 5% which you don't like, because none of us are perfect, and seemingly you've got to love the 95% more so than the 5% are bad. And if you're unwilling to do so, you're in the wrong game, because you won't have longevity about it. Because she is going to piss you off, and it might even take a couple of years, and it might be seasonal where she pisses you off as well. But you've got to be able to look those things because they do have imperfections. But she has to be able to look your imperfections as well, and not look to go jump into bed with another dude as soon as it becomes apparent to her that you are not perfect.
I'll say this though. Someone said I should do a dating call-in show and advice to people. I really should. That would be really good with like just relationship advice, like because it's like everyone knows that I've got game behind the scenes. We can never say in front of the scenes exactly how much game that is, but I do pull pretty well, and it's been just in public. Like I somehow just like really can just like get women interested in me, and it's very, very interesting. Not that I'm doing anything with that, but I'm just saying it has always been interesting. And I'm an unsuspecting person that you wouldn't expect that. I'm like a little queer kid from LA or whatever, with blonde hair.
Confidence goes a long way, Elijah.
Yeah, I'm not intimidated, but I also I'll say this though. One of the things that I will say, and this is kind of like the hard part, if your thing is e-girls, or like if you like just like hot girls, this is like genuinely serious. Like you've usually got to come on strong, and your best chance of getting a hot girl is if you know them through somebody else. Like you just have some sort of relationship, or like they meet you somehow, like through a
because the walls are up because they
like,
get so frequently approached
through through like a non-way, and you just don't simp for them. It's this weird thing. You do the opposite of what every dating advice channel, everything tells you, like every single thing tells you, even if you're not planning on doing this, it's just like, get their number and just be like, thanks for that. Now let's figure out when I'm going to fuck the shit out of you or something. And that's the first thing you should text them. And even if you don't plan on doing it, as long as you're like, you want to come off just strong, it's just generally, and you don't want to be a simp, because pretty girls, they know they're hot. They do know they're hot. I'm being serious. That sounds like a joke, but like when you just like cut to the chase, like, yep, like you just cut to the chase. And you don't have to say fuck the chase. Like, hey, thanks for your number. Like, so when are we gonna fuck? It's like that. Just it's like what? It's like you don't even tell her pretty.
It's because it's the only thing they're not used to.
Correct.
And women, when they're used to something, it's like it's You know, they like it because it's new, it's different, it's not what they're used to. All the men, they're following the same path, they're following the same game. And
Yeah,
it's
like pickup lines? What is that?
Yeah, pickup lines. It's like, it's just not interesting. And women, a lot of women, how they interpret love, we've probably talked about this on the show before, but it's the abundance of emotion. If you're a guy, that's why they always go for the dickheads that beat them and shit
Correct.
like that. It's like, because you're making them feel a lot of different conflicting feelings and thoughts and emotions, and they interpret that as a sense of love. And when that's removed from them and they have the stable guy, they're bored. They get bored and they're like, well, I don't love this guy. The feelings are gone.
They hate a stable man.
They hate a stable man.
Unless you're really rich. But even then, rich people have a lot of problems. They're attracted to the problems of the rich guys. But I'm saying this like genuinely, but that's not like how you approach a woman. It's like, well, how do you approach a woman? I'm telling you this. Just start treating women that you're attracted. If you see a girl you're attracted to, just assume, so you don't get nervous, assume that you like treat all girls the same, whether you want to have sex with them or not. And I mean that, meaning I'm pushing premarital sex, but like that's a huge reason why you get married. Like I want to have sex with this girl, right? Like I want to have sex with her. That's what you're thinking in your head when you see a pretty girl. You're like, oh wow, I want to see her body naked. That's a guy. And so then you give her a relationship and you try to do things the right way so you can get the sex. That's what you want. And the key thing is it's like women, find out what your strength is. I think someone in the chat said they walk around the grocery store with like a basket full of healthy food. That's great. That's what I meant. These are non-flirting ways to get girls to notice you. I typically small talk girls and I just say like ridiculous things in my life. Like you just like some girl at Target that was like, I don't know, I think she fell in love. It was actually pretty crazy.
Low key.
Yeah, low key she like fell in love. Cause she's like, Georgie here was buying some communion wine. And well, he was buying.
It's not communion wine.
Well, he was buying
just
some,
wine.
He was buying some wine. No, I know I'm joking, but he buying some wine, and then like he scanned the second bottle.
Yeah,
and
it didn't scan the second bottle.
Right, he was doing what's called black checkout. He just made it look like he scanned it and put it in the bag.
Right.
And like this girl, she's real cute, and whatever. And she's like, oh, like yeah, I didn't scan or whatever. And I'm like, no, like it's actually buy one get one free wine right now. And she's like, no, it's not. She was like, and I was like, yeah, no, it is. Like I was like, yeah, it is. Like it's like 2 for the price of 1. It's like it's just how it works right here or whatever. And it started going back and forth a little bit. And she's like, starts talking and just starts showing some interest in her. You can pick up that she's like warm about it. And then like before you do,
she tries to reciprocate with some retarded.
Yeah,
bullshit.
she try to make me laugh. That's when you know a girl. That's when you know when the girl's like try to be funny back. You're like, you guys aren't funny, so don't. That's funny that a girl's trying to be funny, and so you're like whatever. And then I'm like, I know she started like blushing and stuff, and I was like, okay. So then I'm like, I like this girl's too nice. Like I can't bring this woman into the mess of my life. Like this is too crazy. Like that's what I thought. I was like, now I should probably ask for her number, but I don't want to do this.
Don't ruin
but
the good
literally
ones.
as we're leaving, she's like on the edge.
So
of
we're like
the wall.
we're outside of the door basically. The door is open. She's probably like 30 feet away at this point. She's like, bye guys, bye.
She's like, bye. I'll
She's
see you
making
later.
sure,
come back again or whatever. I'll see you later. She told me to see me later, and I was like as I'm like leaving because she got a customer got her distracted, and so that's why we walked out. And you're like, yeah. So I'm not saying go to a nice girl and just be like, she's like, oh, that's 2 for the price of 1. When am I gonna fuck the shit out of you? I don't mean that.
Yeah.
I mean that's why I said it's best if you kind of know them through someone, because once you kind of like can meet them in a non-sexual manner, you don't approach them in a sexual manner at first. It's like you either get them through like comedy, and you gotta get them feeling comfortable. And once girls feel that initial guard down, most guys go for the cold approach of just like, hey, you're looking hot, bitch, or whatever. And like that's how all guys approach, is like a pickup line, hard approach. It's like you kind of want to go in, and that's why it's really good to have wingmen, by the way. A really good wingman, like not saying anyone here, but like a good example of like
We'll
kind
give
of like
you 2 instead of 1.
Yes, but also, and there'll be a little Disney princess. But what I'm saying is they do is like a wingman shouldn't be like, yo, my friend thinks you're cute. It's like a wingman should say something like, hey, do you know who Elijah Schaefer is or whatever? And it's like, no. And it's like, there's like a famous podcaster over there or whatever. It's famous. It's not, but it's like, he's like, yeah, he's like really, he's like, whatever, and talk to them for you. And they're approaching him as a kind of in a way that they're not being sexual with them. They're just like, they're like wingmanning. And then you come over and it's like, oh, hey, yeah, they said you like, then they want to meet you. It's like, oh, who is he? It's like, you want to meet him? And it's like, yeah. And then it's like, hey, what's up? Like, you guys wanted to meet me? Like, why? And that's where you're comfortable. Now they think they want to meet you. And they want to meet you. So it doesn't matter what you have in your life. That's why my examples could be a little bit bad because they're my examples. But whatever you have is why do you think the best situationships happen usually at work? It's like you have work in common and you're already there and she feels comfortable. And so you start going out and hooking up. The problem is you don't want to meet a girl in work because it causes drama. So in public, in public, it's very important to not put women on a pedestal and to not like worship them. Make them worship you. I mean this genuinely.
They want to be intrigued,
Yeah.
Elijah. Women want to be intrigued. They don't want all the answers up front. And if anything, you give them nothing. You give them no answers because then they spend days trying to figure it all out. And that's a game they love to do. They've got a natural affection for that as well, my man. But, you know, Georgie, there is hope. I do believe you're going to find one. She's going to knock on the door any day this week, brother.
Can I just say, like, there really is no interest anymore for me.
Yeah,
It's like I used to think about it every day when I was younger. You know, it's like, oh, it'd be nice to be a dad one day and get married, and like the interest is gone. Like I really just care about America now. I care about America. I care about the future of America. I really am not interested in getting married or like having kids with a whore, you know, or like an ex-whore. It's just not. It's just not what I ever wanted. It's not what I envisioned growing up. It's not anything about it, you know. And I've been in enough relationships that I know like how it always kind of goes with women, and I always find the ones that like seem to be like, you know, somewhat pure and like, you know, pure of spirit or whatever, but they always end up being adamant feminists. And they just can't get over the feminist bullshit. And it's even the nicest ones, even the ones that you feel are the most conservative, they're always going to be the feminist, no matter what. And especially the more political they are, the more feminist they are, even if they're portraying themselves as a trad, you know.
That's good. That's a good point. If they're really interested in telling guys about politics, they're genuinely feminists. Look, then this is why every guy falls in love with a hoe. This is why guys fall in love with strippers. This is why guys fall in love, because you know what? Why do you think this stuff is so popular now? Because guys, why do you think guys spend so much on OnlyFans?
Right.
Because like
they want the connection.
You just want a connection and sex. And that's all you want is like, you just want to not be stressed out and get your dick, you know, see some, you know, to get some action. But that's why OnlyFans is like out, because men don't even know how to get girls to sext anymore that they like. I'm not promoting sexting, but I'm saying like now they're like, that's so pathetic to me. Like escorting. Like it's like, if you're going to pay for a woman, go pay for a woman, you know, don't pay for sexting. Like that's crazy. It's like you're paying for sexting. Like that's, you're not even paying for like a woman's body time with it. You're like paying for a guy that's like, pretending to be a woman jerking you off. You know, you're texting a guy, by the way, in Thailand.
Who's a cheat? Yeah. Or a cheat.
Yeah. In India or something. You're texting a guy and he's telling you that he wants to, you know, suck your throbbing MAGA cock. And it's just an Indian guy.
Well, Zerka walked into a room and there was a table of lovely ladies sitting there, and he walked straight up to them and said, "We're going to play a game." And they said, "What is it?" He said, "I'm going to toss a coin, heads or tails." And they were all into it because they were like, "Oh, you'll get a prize." And then he said, "Heads, I get head, tails, I get the tail." And a couple of the girls at the table blushed, but Zerka does what Zerka does, and he owned it in that moment, and he barreled her straight up. And she was down for it immediately because it gave them an option, but the option was to play the game. The option wasn't to decide the outcome of the game. And many women will like that. They want a form of control. They want a man who says what he wants and means what he says. So if you're willing to do that and then not be dissuaded because she pushes back at you a little bit, yeah, by all means, you've got to stand your ground. You've got to do it. But plenty of guys crumble at the first opportunity because they think they have to be Mr. Nice all of a sudden. Of course, you can be nice. You'll treat them like a lady at all times, but they understand there's a dynamic which is taking place there within the dating.
Yeah, but you have to be nice where they know, like, it's kind of like they have to kind of both not know if you're being serious when you're being mean to them. But like they also have to realize that why you're doing it. Like you can't just like walk up to a girl on the street like, "You stupid bitch, suck my cock." Like you can't. That's not gonna work. But like when there's attraction, like when you can tell it's over. Once the guard is down, and you just jump straight to it. This is if you're into that stuff. You can just be like, "I'm gonna fuck you so hard the next time we meet." You're like, "Anyways, give me your phone number so we can make that happen." I'm telling you, this is where too. Like I guess if you want to have like a little bit of like, you know. Like when you're sexting, this is the weirdest thing to say. Like, also, people don't know how to sext or anything like that. But when you are, make sure that you put like humor into it. Like, make sure that you like you don't want to be so like sometimes you can be very descriptive, and like you just whatever it is that you want to do to be natural, like be funny. Like it's just like lie to them immediately about a fetish you have. Like you know what I mean? Like be like I just really get hard from seeing like the inside of like between a woman's toes. You know, I just like I like to put my finger between it, and I just like feeling the friction. It just gets me off. And it's like, and they're like, "What are you serious?" And you're like, "Yeah, just something about the friction between a finger and the inner canal of the toe. It's just like it's hot as fuck." And it's like, okay. And you're like, "Now you go." And they're like, "What?" It's like, you know, like it's like that crazy shit.
Totally
Like-
innocuous.
like a
but
girl
sends them off course
Yeah,
as
like
well.
like a girl recently asked me, you know, like basically, I don't know, I think it was about like my money. And I was some girl asked me like my money, and I told her that I am homeless, and I live in a homeless shelter, and that if she thinks I'm attractive, that's thank you, but you know, you basically have to understand like our relationship is gonna take place in a soup kitchen and a line, and like the only sex toys that are available is like the soup ladle that we'll have to steal from Mary Sue, you know, like it's like that shit where it's like, what are you talking about? It's like, it is retarded and it is stupid, but women love a little bit of men acting retarded. Just like we love their simplicity. They love when you're a little bit retarded and when you're a little bit dominant, but you have to pull back and you can't do one or the other. Cause if you're just mean all the time, then you actually are an asshole.
Hey, I
And if you're
bookmarked
like,
something on your page.
if you're,
let's pull it up.
it's like,
It's
I will.
relevant to this.
It's like, and if you're nice all the time, then they're going to lose interest. And if you're never funny, then
Holiness call
like
for discernment.
women need to laugh at you. Like they need you to laugh at your jokes, or then you become the joke to them. And so it's like you have to kind of just stay unpredictable and be all over the place. And you have to kind of like actually be the opposite of what people say. You need to not be completely stable. You can be completely unpredictable. And the moment that they can predict you, they're going to take control of the relationship, disrespect you. And that's what they say they want. It's a stable guy who's like no drama. No, I swear, women want drama and they want craziness and they want to get excited. And if a woman isn't getting wet when she's talking to you, like if your voice isn't making her wet, she's not turned on by you.
And
That's
they
just,
should
I'm
be-
not even joking.
They should be mimicking you as well,
it's not popping
Elijah.
up.
If they start
I'll DM
mimicking
you.
certain things you do, and it just becomes a part of them, that means you're running through their mind at all times as well.
Yeah, if they don't start copying your humor and stuff,
of
then
course,
they don't
will
care. They don't
literally
like
start
you.
doing it because then they
Yeah.
think you'll find that funny about them, but really they're just bowing down at that point. They are bowing
I
down.
DM you.
They're saying you're the man, and I'm all good for it. So we'll wait to see. George, I want to take you out tomorrow, mate. We're going to find some girls walking in flip flops.
Not
and you're going to
interested.
run the social experiment.
I'm
You're
just,
going
like,
to tell
so
her you want to
uninterested.
get between her toes, brother.
I'm just so uninterested, bro. I really am.
Yeah, she's not hot enough.
you can't click it or what?
It's
there you go.
No, it's like it's not showing your new posts.
Oh, that's lame. It's because you block. And let me unblock the account. You have the account blocked. I'll just unblock
Which
it.
account blocked?
It's a Right Wing Watch.
Oh, it says post unavailable. No, I see it. Nope, it doesn't exist.
Yeah,
I'm not
okay.
seeing it.
Okay, hold on. I'll unblock them. Give me a second here. It'll be in your bookmarks.
Don't tell people on the screen who I've blocked.
Yeah, well, we'll unblock them.
All right.
So I'm flying home tomorrow.
Check the
let's
check
wait
the
to see what
bookmarks.
happens. Yeah, I might be put in prison for 3 or 6 months.
There we go.
Let's wait to see.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you close the show because I got after this I gotta jump and I'll let you speak to the people.
No,
whatever you
watch
want.
this clip though. Watch
Is
this
this
clip.
Nick?
Yeah, it's Nick.
Okay.
It's relevant.
This is old.
It's very old. Yeah.
You should not seek sex because if you seek sex, you will become gay because sex is a gay act. It's totally gay. The straightest thing you could do is to never have sex. And everyone knows that's true. Want to know why? Because you retain your semen and you sublimate your sexual desire to creating things. That's why celibacy is the straightest thing. Because who are the celibates? Monks? Priests? Soldiers? Okay? Great scientists? Philosophers? Geniuses?
It's true.
Also, want to remind you, soldiers are the ones raping the most, and there's also like, some sex scandal stuff with trying to force celibacy. It's got to be a very personal choice, and you got to be called to it. You got to be called to it because the Bible says basically most won't be called to it. It's it says if you can, it's better. That's what Paul says. Better to remain
But he
single as you
also
were.
he says if you can't get married.
That's what I'm saying.
So
he
it's
says
the
he says
same.
men, and it assumes that most men cannot.
Right, yeah, true.
And I know that because I also think if we didn't have internet porn, I think men would really be pushing for marriage more.
I think a lot of people can be celibate. They just like they're so convinced by the society they live in that they can't be, or they're losers or whatever. It's like the incels, they're kind of a laughing stock for that reason because they're not getting laid. It's literally in the name, involuntarily celibate. And it's like, well, I think there is something actually kind of virtuous about that in a way. It's like maybe not the chuds, the chuds that just can't get married, they can't get laid for whatever reason, that's maybe not virtuous. But the ones that are like attractive, that can technically, if they want, go
Kai
out
Schwimmer is an example.
Yeah,
Kai
perfect.
Schwimmer is celibate, and he's like,
it is very,
he's a chat.
It's virtuous.
Yeah.
It is. And it's like, if you can't find the woman in your society to marry, it's like, well, then transform that desire into servitude for something greater than yourself. And I think there's something to say about that. And it can be transformed. A sexual desire can be converted into passion for, you know, your country, politics, whatever it may be. It's a little difficult. And also, you know, in Christianity, the monks, of course they have sexual desire as well, but how do they transform it? They transform it into a deeper love for God and a deeper way to repent and, you know, to get closer to God. That's why we have monks, you know, because they serve as that kind of bastion in our society to show us that it is possible.
Well, I'll just say this.
I'll close out.
Yeah, I don't know, but some people are like I'm hypersexual, I think.
No, yeah.
Like, and like, I think more than like I rarely, I'll like meet people who are like have a sex drive or like a thought process like I had in the past. And I think I slowed it down.
Doomsday says, I be fucking.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think I was able to arrest it for a while, and accept that there was like, you know, like no sex in my marriage and like not need to go seek anything anywhere else, like porn or anything. I was like, you know, I came to a conclusion. You can control it. And I did like just get control of my thoughts and like, you know, be like, you know, if I have to be celibate going forward to like be there for my kids, then I'm going to do that because I'm going to do what I need to do. And maybe if I'm celibate, I can find the solution to this problem. But, you know, that was for a temporary, that was for a bigger purpose. And I think that celibacy, you've got to, that's why it is with priests and soldiers. It's got to be for a bigger purpose. Like, yeah, you literally can't, if you sit around and you're just not having sex because that's why they get made fun of, then you are an incel.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it, like you said, for a virtuous reason, like you're like, I am withholding myself from sex. Let's say like even Nick, for instance, maybe, although we don't, I mean, people are saying, you know, the Faith Merrill thing online, but I have no evidence of that.
She was also hanging out with Morgan Ariel that day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying people
was hanging out with Nick.
People were saying that, but I don't think that's what happened. Yeah. Is like, you know, when you read the VTF report and they're trying to compromise his faith, it's like, you know, most men are taken down through their sexuality, and that's just the truth.
True, all the great ones, all the great prophets and everything.
Yeah, everyone's just kind of taken down that way, and so, you know, I salute that. I never pressure him to have sex. However, I feel like for some reason, when I have Nick on the show again, if I gave him my idea about not getting married and just getting a hoe and like having some kids, I bet you'd be like, I shouldn't say this because I'm Catholic, but it's a pretty unorthodox, but a pretty damn good idea. You know, it might work. It might work. You might go to hell for it, but it might work. It's like I don't know what he would say actually, but I feel like he's funny like
in
that.
The short term, it might work, but you know, it's also, like I said earlier, like what's the example for those kids that you're setting by
What's
doing
the example of me being divorced for my kids? Not good, dude. Not good.
Well, it's a little different.
No, it's not. It's not good.
But you got married first before you had them. So there is a difference to be made. It's like you didn't have kids with some whore, you know, that like you didn't expect to get married to. You did do it in holy matrimony. You did it the correct way, and it was her that steered it off course, you know.
No, I made some bad choices myself.
Well, that too.
No, totally.
Yeah.
I'm not putting the divorce blame on her. I think we both it takes two to tango.
Well, I have my own personal opinion, and it's
definitely
it's
messed
the
up.
parents, it's the in-laws that came in and kind of fucked everything up. In my opinion, based off of everything I've heard about the story, I think that is the catalyst for everything going wrong. It's the in-laws, you know, coming into the marriage and kind of making it their own and saying how it needs to be run. That was the mistake, I think.
Because it's a matriarchal family. Yeah, so it's a matriarchal family where like the mom works and the dad doesn't, and then you have like this weird cult thing where they're all gonna like move onto a property together, and like it's like they all have to just be for the family above all else. And the goal was to get her back, and I wouldn't move back to Australia. Well, no, actually, by the way, I'm gonna tell you this. I really, when I really felt the shift, this is not a joke. When things went really bad, to tell people, notice these shifts because you're probably right. When I got banned from Australia last year from entering, the family, I think that's when their plan to get me to make sure we get divorced began, because that's when her brother really got weird and stuff, because their goal, and they were trying to convince me to move on to this commune with them in Australia, and they're like, they all needed to be together, and I'm like, I'm not leaving the United States permanently. Like I would be down occasionally, like, you know, to go for summers. Like maybe we can get our jobs in a way where I can build a studio down there. We can go every summer. down to the family farm and we can live down there for the summer, like 2.5 months. That's like the kids' summer. They go to Australia for the summer and we can make it like their summer vacation is in Australia. I'm okay with that because I got enough friends and people over there.
It's the wrong place for a political commentator, particularly someone who loves the First Amendment. It's totally the wrong place.
And once they realized that they couldn't get their daughter home to the commune and I couldn't go, it was like, fuck this guy. Because they started being mean as shit after that. Like, and I noticed, I'm like, is there like, I was kind of thinking about it. I'm like, I wonder if like their whole plan, and like maybe even their whole plan, it was like, whatever, they'll have more kids and we'll have more, more grandkids and whatever. We don't like this guy, but at least we'll have like, they want to have 6, 7 kids. So we don't want to ruin our daughter's life.
Right.
But it was like, they took in and they just wreaked they made my life hell. But I'm saying, watch out for in-laws. Watch out for things. I'm going to say this. Watch out for things in your marriage. If something happens that gets in the way of your in-laws, like what they say they desire for your future, if they tell you what they desire, what they view the future looking like, and something happens, you lose a job, you get a disability, you do a sin or something like that, and this causes you to upset your in-laws, if you're a man, just realize that the in-laws will probably try to get your wife to divorce you, and that is legitimately, if you were a retirement plan for them or whatever, and you lose all your money, go to bankruptcy, you're going to get divorced and they're going to convince her. So just know that and remember that, just remember that. Anyways, I'm going to let,
let's sign off now.
No, I'm going to let Mr. Netanyahu say his piece before, of course, before, and I'm going to let him sign off because I got to go real fast and I'm going to let him sign off.
Okay.
It's been a great time here in America. Customs are booting me out of your country, but that's cool. I've got some green card offers, so I might take advantage of those, which is always nice to know. Options are a good thing for a man to have. Options. Put yourself in that position. You'll be fine. But yeah, it'll be a shame. I'll certainly miss being here. Elijah's resurgent now. He's got a phenomenal little team around him. George, you've done a remarkable job, mate.
Thanks,
I want to
bro.
give you a special commendation for that as well. This all couldn't have taken place for the listening audience out there without George and everything he's done. And most importantly, I'll be back. I'll be back sooner than later. Maybe in a couple of months. I may have to seek political asylum in this country, which will be interesting. And I'd like to do 50 days at 50 airports in America as well, just to give people an idea of what's taking place in the airports and the people coming in and out of your cities. More importantly, the people that are flying in from certain countries overseas and getting put straight onto disability. I think that'll work pretty well. I think Americans need to see that. But yeah, man, hopefully I'm not in solitary for too long. Hopefully I can escape whatever retribution the government has intent for me as soon as I arrive. And hopefully I'm able to walk out of the airport, not placed in handcuffs, and go straight home and jump on my motorbike and go for a ride and jump on the jet ski and do a few things.
Pray for him, please.
But yeah, love everyone here. Love America to death. And, you've had a good day today, America. It's a public holiday in your country. And I'm going to try to get that same public holiday happening in Australia. We need it. We need to remember those that we've lost. It's pretty important. But yeah, I believe America is the future, and I believe America is the only way out of a lot of the problems currently taking place around the world. And more importantly, it's not up to America to save the rest of the world. Americans have got to save their own backyard first, and then the rest of the world has got to follow that example and lead themselves out of their own misery. God bless America, 1776 for life.
Real quick, want to shout out the Clippers and the journalists that work for us. Shout out Indie Noticer. Shout out Nicholas Redmond. They both write for our website at rifttv.com. And also thanks to the Clippers, Groiper Firestick on Twitter and US_Monarch. Thank you guys so much for all the work you do. Let's see if I get the 3 split up here, and then we'll do our salute. Thank you everyone for watching. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.